Hasan Piker, socialist, communist,
radical left influencer.
Hasan Piker.
Dirtbag left.
Hasan Piker.
Pro-terrorism, pro-Hamas.
Hasan Piker.
Hasan Piker.
Hasan
Piker. Going on this vulgar rant, mocking wounded war vet for losing his eye fighting for our freedom.
Have you ever heard someone mention the Streisand effect and wondered what they were talking about? This phenomena is named after actress Barbara Streisand. Sometimes when you try to cover something up, you end up bringing more attention to it than if you had just let things be.
Remember that shit?
The assemblyman will not denounce Hasan Piker, who said,
America deserved 9/11, dude.
The assemblyman just said in his response,
Hasan Piker says America deserved 9/11.
There you go. There you have it.
My friends, we have toppled a political dynasty.
Now to the Michigan Senate race, where El Sayed is campaigning in Michigan.
Appearing on stage at 2 Michigan campaign rallies.
He's proactively campaigning alongside Piker.
The man who says Hezbollah's flag is his favorite because it's dope.
Why would you align yourself for raging anti-Semites?
Who has defended Hamas terrorists.
Calling them the lesser of two Israels compared to the evils. Lesser of two.
That's what I find a bridge too far.
When I went up to my good friend Chat and said, hey, can you walk me through some more controversial statements of Hasan Piker? Even ChatGPT went out of its way to soften the edges of Hasan and give me context. Thanks, but no thanks, ChatGPT.
Hasan Piker is campaign poison. Placing yourself on the wrong side of a 90-10 issue is only going to make you look bad. It's going to be good for me. It's going to be good for the candidates that I work with. Turns out it was true. Abdul El Sayed at 27%. Oliver Larkin. Melon Kuros, everybody.
Nice to meet you, Hasan.
Welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh.
What's going on, man?
What's up, dude? Good to see you guys. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. How you been?
He's trying to get me out.
Wow.
What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, afternoon, pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hasan Piker, and this is the HasanAbi broadcast coming to you live from sunny California, Los Angeles, folks. We're live and alive on it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day, folks. We're live, we're alive, and I hope everyone's having a fantastic one because today is a fantastic day. Today's a day that will live in infamy. That's right, folks. Coming to you live. It's 80 degrees and sunny here in Los Angeles, California, on stolen Tongva territory. That's right. Do you mind if I give Kaya a cyber pet? Yes, you can do that. Let's wait. Go ahead. Get your cyber pets in. Pet. Okay. Anyway, where were we? We're live. We're alive. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a beautiful day. I'm in a great mood overall. I'm sure someone will fuck that up for me eventually, but for the time being, I feel elated. I feel excited. I feel like a weight has been lifted off of my shoulders. But only one brief moment of solace. Of course, as always, our work is not done. We still got plenty more work to do. This is the part of the broadcast where I tell you about my personal news. And as you already know, I'm a chud-ass loser. And therefore, I didn't do anything last night other than do the podcast. I ended the broadcast yesterday. I didn't get to actually see the fruits of our labor, this community's labor, alongside the labor of DSA Philadelphia in the Chris RABB race because I had to do the podcast because Austin and his gay ass is going to Puerto Vallarta. Okay, he's going to PV for Pride. And we had to shoot an episode of the podcast before he leaves. And last night was the only time where we could shoot it, so I wasn't live to watch a particular event that took place in the Pennsylvania 3 district. I'm gay and Lebanese. Puerto Vallarta. This man is going on vacation, gaycation after gaycation. In any case, folks, I celebrated. I crowed. We cried. I crowed. We'll obviously talk quite a bit about, the events that took place yesterday, some defeats, some victories. Israel had some significant defeats and Israel had some significant victories. And we'll talk about all of that and more. But I woke up early. Miracles were taking shape last night. One of those miracles was Jalen Brunson. I'm talking about the New York Knicks coming back from 28 points and then cooking the Cleveland Cavaliers in overtime. What the fuck is going on in the NBA? God damn it. Did they actually hire better writers? Is that what's happening? Is that what's happening right now? Because let me tell you, a lot of people say, oh, the NBA is boring. It's so lame. Everybody takes 3-point shots. Okay? Oh, it's the game. What happened to the game I love? It was better when everyone was a goddamn plumber and they were hacking each other, even if they couldn't drive left. It was better back then. That's what unks say. Unk ball. I didn't realize that Adam Silver had a silver tongue. I didn't realize that he was cooking up an incredible playoff season. Conference finals taking place all around. I thought the sweep implied that the script was going to be boring, but he hired some fucking phenomenal writers. Okay. Clearly. Probably the best season since 2016 and 2018, OKC excluded. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. What the hell? What the hell happened to the game I love? What happened to the game I love? You know what happened? Better writers. That's what happened. They had to kill LeBron so they could hire better writers. Austin, I took a cold shower this morning. Yeah, I woke up this morning, electricity's out. Immediately blame Austin. Austin is staying in my house before he flies out. So I woke up and I was like, Austin, what the fuck did you plug into the wall that bricked the entire electricity? But we found out that the entire area's electricity actually went out for a brief moment. We don't know why. But this son of a bitch apparently couldn't have a warm shower because the heater wasn't working.
I'm gay and Lebanese.
I thought it was your red light mask too, Austin. I thought it was also your red light mask, but it turns out that's not the case. Anyway, data center cook in LA, maybe. But yeah, that's all I got. I had a big Guardian. I did this whole thing on the Guardian earlier today. Little podcast, right? Little podcast moment. Bring on Maureen Galindo. I can arrange that. Dude, y'all are fucking crazy. Okay, listen. Max Kellerman compares Harden to Trump. Bringing in James Harden to win championships is like electing Donald Trump to fix your country. Max Kellerman, there's no way this is real, dude. Also, James Harden looks pretty good. I mean, he obviously, like, people look, the bits and pieces I saw feel like he kind of gave up there. Okay. But all I will say is this: he looks a lot better. Like, I mean, he looks like he looks like what Luka should look like. Okay. He went through he got fit. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he's not hitting the strip clubs no more. I don't know what the fuck's going on. The very unexpected. He don't got internet. Harden looks like dog shit. He fucked us in the fourth. Not a good take. Fuck Harden. I just meant like he looks physically in shape. I didn't say he was playing. I didn't say he was clutching it. Clearly he wasn't. James Harden, best defender in the strip club. One-ply toilet paper has better defense than Harden. Hasan, this is a really bad take. He was playing like fat Harden. Don't matter how he looks. I know. Okay. Maybe the secret to his success is the strip club. Have you thought about that? Maybe you took away what made him great. You forced his ass to go to the gym, and now he's diminished. Perhaps we should be in support of our kings that support sex work, because sex work is real work. At least that's what James Harden believes. He might be pro-cop. He thinks police lives matter. He thinks blue lives matter. But you know what he also thinks? Stripper lives matter. Sex work is real work, just like police work. Okay? You got to take the good and the bad when you talk about James Harden. Anyway, but yeah, what a script. What a fucking script for the NBA. Very cool stuff taking place. Obviously, Wemby is going to clear. You know, it's Wemby sweep for OKC. Sorry, OKC fans, it's going to happen. And then, Knicks versus Spurs. Spurs takes it in 6. Let's give him that. Will keeps telling me that the Knicks is the greatest team in the NBA right now. I don't see what he sees, but it's okay. I love New York City. Y'all deserve it. But the alien is coming for you. I mean, judging by the script writing, it'll be game 7, I think. Spurs takes it in game 7. Has to be, right? Zohran will lead us to the chip. Nah. Jalen Brunson is way better than Wemby. Okay, calm down. All right. Yeah. Let's blast off. We got a lot going on. We got a lot going on in the world, and we have to discuss all of it. What is this? ESPN articles? Bro, they're doing ESPN articles saying Wemby's doing Kill Bill training. What the fuck? What is this? Wemby truly is one of us. 34 generations of ancient warrior training helped build Wemby this offseason. Victor Wembanyama dribbled a basketball up a dangerous mountain route in 4.5 hours while training with monks. What? I can't. What? That's so cool, dude. Come on. How do you not love this guy? He's Chinese, bro. I wonder if his newfound appreciation for the People's Republic of China will finally cause him to take the dive and be a Mélenchon head. You know what I mean? Because, like, he in the past has done the classic French guy, classic French politics guy who's like, oh, I think there is extreme on both sides. Mélenchon, a bit of an extreme guy. But, of course, you know, I hate the right. I hate the nationalists. But we need reasonable politics. Like, he's done that. But now that he went to China, in my headcanon, yeah, Kung Fu Panda ass, headcanon, he goes to China. Who in French politics represents Wemby the best? Jean-Luc Mélenchon. Okay? We put Wembanyama on the LFI ticket, okay? The world will change. He will shock the world. Knicks got the mandate of heaven. I believe in them. Did you just not see what I was showing you? Who do you think has the mandate of heaven? God, he's so goated. Anyway, they have Wemby training like Bruce Wayne did in Batman Begins. He's the GOAT. He is the GOAT. All right. Wemby or Mbappe? Wemby. I'm not like a big soccer guy anyway, in any way, shape, or form. LeBron James having Drake breakup songs written about him. Meanwhile, Wemby is doing the Batman Begins plot. Hate to break it to you, Hassan, but the LFI are not that good. I mean, you're breaking to me something that I disagree with fundamentally. Ashley St. Clair went on a podcast yesterday and said MAGA is deathly afraid of Hassan, starts at 1910. You know what's really interesting about this conversation, by the way? She's talking to this person who despises me, by the way, but also, this is very interesting because while she was having this talk, I was talking to her directly, and I didn't even realize this happened. I don't know when they filmed this, but today, this morning, I hit her up randomly before I even saw this tweet to be like, hey, I'm going to be in New York. Do you want to come on the broadcast? It's finally time. I've told you guys this before. I connected her with Brace Belden in the past because I couldn't tell if she was actually legitimately like having a wake up moment where if she was like genuinely changing her mind about politics, or if she was just like, or if she was just, faking it, right? Faking it for clout or whatever. And I think there's been enough time, and it does seem like her transformation is real. So I was going to, do influencer drama, another baby mama of Elon Musk, obviously. As you guys know, this is a common sight on the HasanAbi broadcast, or even, other people in his life, or people no longer in his life. So, that's my op. It is what it is. But I already had reached out to her, and then I saw this clip on my timeline. I was like, Kismet, Elon is going to ship you to space. I mean, he already fucking hates me, so we might as well take it to the next level.
They are.
But yeah, Elon Musk's baby mama, Ashley St. Clair, leaks that MAGA influencers are secretly terrified of Hassan Piker, which I find to be not so strange at all. She replied, yeah, of course. Yeah, we're making it happen. I will have her on the broadcast, most likely on Saturday, in New York City, in person, as a matter of fact. So get excited for that. Let's take a look at
that. Communities that I contributed harm to are reacting to me. Like, that's not my place to critique.
Yeah, no, I think that's very fair.
Yeah.
Random question that I have with like MAGA influencers and stuff. Are there influencers on the left who they're kind of like afraid of as being like very like effective or like ones they want to take down?
Yeah, they are very scared of Hasan Piker.
Oh, they are?
That is like the one that they are scared of, because Hasan has the ability to capture what I believe to be someone like the alt-right men as well. Like there is a crossover between the people who gravitate towards a Nick Fuentes or a Tucker Carlson that could find better solace in someone like Hasan. They're terrified of Hasan Piker. Terrified.
That's fascinating to me. Oh wow, that's interesting. Yeah, I know there is crossover. And I mean, I've critiqued Hasan in the past, and like his stands will come for me. Like I'm kind of the mindset of I really don't like a lot of things that he has to say, but I think he's
Yeah, good. I mean, good. I'll be honest, good. Cause it's working. Okay, cause it's working. Every time I've seen this person, she's talking shit about me. Okay, every time she go on the pod Johns, I'll be like, yo, this guy sucks. I don't know what it is.
isn't that good, and I think he like deserves a platform. I don't think he should be canceled. I do think he says some things that are like absolutely beyond the pale from time to time, but that is so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I've always defended everyone's right to speak, even my biggest detractors. I think we should be very wary whenever there is an establishment push to silence anyone. I think that shows if the levers of capital are all fixated against one individual, you should probably pay attention to that.
I completely agree with that take. Like, I've always been of the mindset of like, especially with all the shit going on with the FCC right now, like, and I'm trying to like talk to conservatives and be like, listen, I think a lot of what you say on Fox News is stupid dog shit garbage and I hate it, but I still do defend your right to say it.
Yeah.
And listen to it and engage with it.
But also with people like Hasan or any streamer, they are live for so long and they are living the most honest articulation of like thought and commentary. They're going to say stupid shit, and that's okay. And I guess that goes back to like my thesis, right? It's like there has to be some forgiveness and grace to people being human and saying stupid shit. Because look, if anyone pulled up our texting group chats, you know, like we all say stupid things. And I think it's really important to put that humanity and being human and being stupid back into the public sphere and owning it. I think that is really important, especially like as we're building systems that aggregate humanity and we purposely leave so much of humanity out. I think we have to put that back in, and we have to have grace for people who are human and decide to speak all day, every day. And yeah, there's going to be some things that are taken out of context that sound bad. Like I have things that are in context that sound.
I like social policy, but Lenin is too far for me. Am I your op? Probably not. But also, what do you mean Lenin is too far for you? Why? You don't like one of the most profoundly important progressive historical forces that has ever existed on this planet? Like, I don't understand. Saying Lenin is too far for me is like saying I actually don't fuck with the French Revolution. You know what I mean? And it's even worse than that, obviously, because I think like, you know, Lenin was even better than that. But it's just like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like saying, yeah, I don't really fuck with the New Deal. Like FDR, not great, you know? people that have advanced society dramatically, okay? Just not a fan. I don't like it. You know, I don't fuck with the founding fathers. I don't like, it's just like a silly take in general. Nah, I like the New Deal. I know. The universal popularity of the French Revolution is a pretty serious achievement, to be honest, Lamont. No, I'm just saying it's like, it's like a silly take to have in general. Come on, man. It's not like the Russian Revolution is common knowledge for everyone. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's common knowledge or not. It happened. That's what matters. It happened. It was good. And if you don't know about it, well, it's on you to learn about it, right? To a certain degree. Anyway, it is funny, though. You're not my op, chatter. I think most people just don't know. That's what it is. They've learned something. They've either not learned anything about it, or they've been conditioned into thinking that he was like a bad guy or something. So that's usually where this comes from. This kind of, this kind of attitude. That's where it comes from usually. Anyway, You can tell deeply the podcast star has nothing of substance that she disagrees with you on. It's just a facade she keeps up to fit her already established redneck base. Not really genuine. I don't really know too much about her. I just, every time I see her, every time I see clips of her, it's obviously because she's like talking about me. You guys send me the clips of her and she's always like very negative. But I mean, I think Ashley St. Clair in this moment is basically explaining why she has a negative perception of me. Yeah, because I communicate a certain way, I think, that is appealing to rudderless men, and it doesn't fit her. She doesn't like it optically. I think it's mostly just optics, maybe some ideological disagreements as well. Like I said, I don't really know where she's coming from. Not that it matters, but who cares? It's very interesting because, like I was saying, I was going to have Ashley St. Clair on, and then all of a sudden, turns out she's, having this conversation. Suzanne likes Abdul El-Sayed. She interviewed him recently. I've seen her liking a lot of pro-Abdul posts, including the ones with you when you rally with him in Michigan. I don't think she's that bad. I think she doesn't like you because of your reaction to that Wired article about Chorus. She hates Taylor Lorenz. They beef on threads all the time. That's funny. Oh, that's hilarious. That's why. Okay, that makes sense. All right. She fucking hates Taylor. Okay, got it. Got it. The suit is definitely helping a lot. Good. I am trying to fool people into thinking that I have anything to say that's worth a damn, when obviously that's not the case. Let's be real. Most of this broadcast is about coming up with car cinematic universe names for popular politicians and historical figures. But from the outside, people actually tune in and they're like, this guy probably has something serious to say, you know? Yes. Speaking of car cinematic universe, Chris RABB. RAV4. I mean, your ball takes are pretty unserious. Man, shut the frick up. What Kami says, thank you for the 50 bones. All right. We got to talk about it. Did you know this? Lindsay DeFranco won? Yes. I fucking forgot the text, Phil, actually. Yeah, no, she's goated. She's dope. I like her a lot more than I like Philip. Let's be real. Okay. She's actually way cooler than he is. Not only is she way cooler than he is, she's also better on camera than he is, really. Like, I saw one video of her, like, promoting her campaign, and I was like, damn, dude, she is coming for your job, bro. You fucking quit your day job. She's got this. Straight up. Yeah. But it's very cool. It's very, very cool that that she, you know, I think for all my 2010 YouTube watchers, Democratic nominee in Georgia's HD 47 Trump 15 Northern Fulton County is Lindsay DeFranco, the wife of news YouTuber Philip DeFranco. Is she actually related to Philly D? No, that's literally that. It's Lindsay DeFranco. It's Philip DeFranco's wife. Yes, they're married. This is not a joke. This is real. The only reason why you didn't know about this is because he's been kind of reluctant to like promote it. Well, not necessarily reluctant to promote it. Obviously, he's doing a lot of work in the background too, but like he just didn't, you know, he wasn't like as aggressive about the promotion.
They say,
yeah, look, let's fucking go. It's time to flip District 47 and flip the House. Time for legislators to truly work for the citizens of Georgia, and this starts this November.
politics is a game of margins.
But in Georgia, it's a game of 10 out of 180. That's the difference between the status quo and a house that actually works for your family.
And that's why I'm here with Lindsay DeFranco, who's running in North Fulton County and will flip a Republican seat this year.
We aren't just running for a vacant seat. We're running to change the direction of the place we call home.
10 seats to lower your costs.
10 seats to protect our schools.
10 seats to bring common sense back to the Gold Dome. It's time to shake up an old, broken system.
And building for the next generation.
10 seats to win.
Let's
flip
it.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that cool? Yeah. As a PDS stan, he mentions his wife running probably 2 to 3 times a week. Yeah, but I feel like it's not like I don't know. I feel like he's not like super aggressive. Like he wanted her to do her own thing, you know? This surely won't turn into internet drama. No, I don't think so. I don't think it should. I mean, look, she's her own individual and she's great. Anyway, anti-Israel Democrat backed by AOC and Hasan Piker wins nomination for U.S. House in Pennsylvania. Bro, what is this title, bro? Times of Israel. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Let's go. Does Zoran start walking towards the camera campaign video style? What? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't care about Zoran. We moved past Zoran. Zoran's in the fucking rear view mirror, folks. We got new lengths. We got new places to go to, new avenues, uncharted territory. Chris Rabb, the Rapture. The Rapture! Israel supporter cries over Chris's win. Oh my Lord, that's amazing. That's amazing. Let's freaking go, baby. Woo! You don't understand, dude. Primary Zoran now. Yeah, Zoran is done. He's washed. He's washed. El Ora. El Ora for Zoran. We got bigger and better things to move on to. We've leveled up. We're now talking congressional races, okay? That's right. The midterms are here, baby. The midterms are here. This is over. It's over. Fantastic. Do you have any thoughts about Musab Ali in New Jersey running against Menendez? Yes, he's fucking dope. I actually like him a lot, and I obviously despise Menendez. Shouts out to Musab Ali. He's great. Maybe I could do something with him. I don't know. I'll have to look into his background a little bit. I met Rep Rab. He smells so good. He's so hot. Yes, it's true. I mean, I can't speak for his smell, but I can tell you he's hot and he's good. And also this. And no, this is not an AI video. This is real. Remember we talked about how he is a trained capoeira fighter? We hate Masab? Wait, why? The fuck? Why do you guys hate Masab? Wrong version. Look at this version. Unk's got moves. Yes, dude. Yes. Dude, this is a really, 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 really awesome race. It's a really important one. Obviously, this was a race where the institutions, the machine of turnout was defeated, right? There's a couple reasons why it's very important. There's a couple reasons why this is very important. I think one of the reasons why it's important is because it's a very black district, okay? And let's be real. I think the socialist movement in this country, the insurgent movement of socialism in this country, it has some wonderful black representatives in it, but it hasn't. I feel like it hasn't thus far, especially the contemporary socialist movement has not made an impact in specifically black districts. And this district is a very black district. This is 51%, right? So it's huge. Obviously, there are important lessons to learn here, okay? You have to realize there is no mass socialist movement in this country without black socialism, okay? And this is a start. This is a start at obviously Summer Lee as well. But this is a start for something even bigger, right? And it's phenomenal. And I'm so stoked, so excited, and also honored that I was in some way, shape, or form a little bit part of what took place here, you know? I'm close to Masab's brother. Why did that guy say he didn't like Masab? No, both Pittsburgh and Philly are represented by black Democratic socialists. Also, Summer won her primary with 81% of the vote. No one is mentioning that, but it's important to note. Yeah, I will be obviously mentioning that as well. This is the trade-off of having Bernie lead the movement in 2016 and 2020. He failed to reach in those communities, and that had consequences. Okay, dude, he's one guy, okay? And it's not like he wasn't trying. Like, I'm not saying that he was bad at it, right? He just failed to make those inroads, but these things take time. And I think it's going to be important to really figure out exactly how this happened, right? Because from what I understand, I was listening to some Philly DSA folks as well, that they were saying, like, look, our turnout machine obviously turned up to 11. The time was right for it. But one of the things that I heard that I found to be interesting is, like, they actually went out to black neighborhoods, and they didn't just door knock, but they went out and they listened to the demands and understood, like, exactly what the black electorate wanted in this district. And I think that's very, very important. Our outreach and our organizational efforts must focus on different demographics and not just talk about issues just from the broadest class perspective, even though obviously it's class first politics, but it's very important to organize in neighborhoods, specifically black neighborhoods, especially because like blackness is a unique aspect in American culture. It's the indigenous folks and the black folks that have been fundamentally wiped out and disenfranchised in this country. It's one of the most consequential aspects of the modern reactionary movement and just all reactionary movements in this country historically. So there needs to be an extra emphasis on that. So very good, very exciting stuff. I was really worried because let's be real, okay? I'm gonna say it. People get mad at me sometimes when I say this, but the Unk Guard and the Aunt Guard is the bulwark of the Democratic establishment. Okay, black people have to be listened to feel motivated to vote just like everyone else. Yes, the Unk Guard, and the Aunt Guard are the bulwark. They are the vanguard of the Democratic establishment, and yet they are more progressive than the average Democrat, and they have been lied about this whole time. Okay, people always act as though the black aunties, which is the backbone of the Democratic Party. That they just are all, K-hivers or something. They're all ideologically committed to like third way neoliberalism. That's not the case. It's just that the turnout machine and the community leadership has been a part of the entrenched power in the Democratic Party for a very long time. And of course, that's the reason why they keep promoting certain candidates. Okay, they keep promoting third way neoliberals and establishment Democrats, pro-Israel Democrats. But the people, if you were to go to them and talk to them and understand their plight, if you were to have some FaceTime with these communities, you realize, like, of course, they're more progressive than the median voter, historically speaking, and certainly in this day and age as well. Okay? There's a lot of opportunity there. And let's be real. There is no pathway for socialists in this country without black organizing. That's it. Yeah. RABB obviously comes from this background, right? He's the guy. It's an important lesson to learn here. And he got 1/3 of the black vote in a district that's, 51% black. Now, 1/3 of the black vote in a three-way split was, in my opinion, far higher than I even thought he was going to get because of the establishment turnout machine. The establishment turnout machine obviously at first favored Stanford, and then flub after flub caused the money faucet to turn in the direction of Sharif Street. But RABB still did the dang thing. It was great. And he is truly one of the most radical people in Congress. You said Massey losing by 10 was a landslide yesterday. How does that make RABB beating Street by 15? I mean, yes, it's not even a thing. That's not even a question. It's an unbelievable, spectacular victory. A massive landslide. It is a fucking mandate, folks. Let's take a look.
The city birthed this imperfect union.
Like, that's what I mean. He just fucking says it. That's what I like about him. I mean, obviously he's like a media guy for the longest time too, but like you guys have to understand, this is a person in Pennsylvania 3 in Philadelphia that has been critical of Barack Obama. Okay? Like, that is a non-starter if he isn't who he is, right? That is a non-starter. I genuinely, I think it's so sick that he is, I think it's so awesome that he's just straight up like a no-nonsense guy. He has a point of view and he will let you hear it. He even said he feared he was too radical, but the people had his back. Yeah.
Has shown a bright light that it's the many over the money.
Unbossed, unbought.
They ain't ready for us, folks. And we are just getting started. They told me this wasn't possible. That's what they said. But I know who we are. I'm looking at we the people. I'm not talking about we the people 250 years ago. That was a much smaller we. I'm talking about the aggressive fabulosity of this we. See what I did there? There were moments along this 10-month journey that tried me. But I was reminded that tough times pass but tough people last. And there was a moment a couple of months ago, not long ago, where I was on the precipice of withdrawing from this race. And there were people who showed up for me at my worst, in the depths of adversity. Good people.
Dude, one of the things that is so incredible about this, by the way, and I do feel a sense of kinship with RABB on this, is that he has been uncompromising in his worldview, okay? He's been called a radical. He's been called tough to deal with, right? He's been disparaged. He's been pushed aside. And he's always been there regardless, right? And now we are reaching a point, a pivotal point in American politics where the people are finally coming to our side. The people are finally starting to recognize where we are coming from, where we were always coming from, right? And I think that kind of determination should be rewarded, right? I think it is important. It is important to acknowledge people that have been there all along, people that have been fighting this fight all along, even in moments where some of the things you say, maybe the people aren't ready to hear, right? To give you context, he has someone on his team that controlled the campaign's finances. They sold thousands of dollars. Yeah, this is, I mean, what an incredible possibility, dude. What an incredible moment. Like I said, these are the moments, the little pockets of hope, the little threads of possibility that we weave, okay, to push for a better future. When you feel nihilistic, when you feel like a better future is not possible, just remember these moments, okay? This is what I say. This is how you maintain revolutionary optimism. These are the threads of possibilities that we're weaving together. Yeah. Chris RABB, the surging House candidate backed by AOC Rokana, Philly Inquirer, recently called the free cop killer Mumia Abu Jamal. In an open letter last month, RABB called Abu Jamal a freedom fighter. Someone said, does he pay you guys to make him look good? House candidate backed by AOC Van Hollen hails cop killer Mumia Abu Jamal as black freedom fighter and political prisoner, running for an open seat. There are dozens of elderly political prisoners in the United States, predominantly black freedom fighters, who have been held for decades under similarly punitive conditions, the letter states. We hope that as governor, you and the members of the Board of Pardons will listen to the community organizations representing Pennsylvanians in their call to free Mumia Abu Jamal. I'm telling you, man, he's fucking radical. I mean, he's a radical guy. Without decisive action, DSA will treat the continued incarceration of our elders and comrades as incompatible with the pursuit of future political ambitions, the letter goes on. Yeah. And what you might consider to be radical today will be rational tomorrow. And that's slowly but surely where we are going, where we are headed. It is hard not to feel hopeful on this day. Okay? It's incredible.
Good people who showed up when I needed them most, not the least of which was my mom. And she would not allow me to make that choice because my mother and those closest to me knew that for me in this race that I was walking in my purpose. And the purpose is so much bigger than the position. Positions come and go, but to be steadfast in your purpose, which is why I said that we just won. Because I assure you, I did not win tonight. We won.
You know Centrism fan account lives in PA3? No, he does? Wait, has anybody checked in on him? Is he okay? Wait, I have it on good authority. Wait, I think we found Centrism fan account's video. Hold on. I think he actually filmed the video, and it wasn't even a he, it's actually a she. Let's take a look.
I want to apologize to my Jewish friends tonight for not being able to stop Chris RABB from winning his primary. I didn't live in his district, and I didn't register in time to vote in the Democratic primary. I did everything I could. I wrote about him. I exposed his deep vein of anti-Semitism and Jew hatred. I focused as well as I could in my social media posts on actions and comments that his campaign, his staff, and his supporters have taken, which show a true deep hatred of Israel, a willingness to lie about Israel, a willingness to fabricate a genocide that doesn't exist, and animus towards Jewish Philadelphians. Normally, I'm able to engage in the political process. I can vote. I can have a say. This time, my hands were tied. And all I had was this and these.
Damn. She said Twitter fingers. Is this someone I'm supposed to give a shit about? Yeah, it's Centrism fan account, also known as Wilson Valdez from Philadelphia. Let's take a look. Had a great day in DC yesterday and crashed hard when I got home. So here are some of my thoughts on the PA3 race. The outcome was not really that surprising. I thought RABB would probably win with a divided field. He got a little more of the vote share, 44 to progressives and 48 to the moderates than I expected, but it was basically the same dynamic. The turnout was just pathetic. 21% of eligible voters voted in the primary. Average voters were just not at all tuned in and probably barely even knew there was an election. Low turnout in a blue environment is the type of race the left/progressives thrive in. RABB way outspent the other candidates. They had the big money advantage. His ads were everywhere, all over TV. You couldn't watch anything without seeing his ads towards the end of the race. Just getting your name/face out there in low turnout primary is a massive advantage. Frankly, although I voted for Street, he sucked, and so did Stanford. Stanford had a great profile on paper, but could not answer basic questions at all. And then in the final month of two, just completely disappeared. Barely any interviews, no ads at all. The mailer stopped, like she wasn't even running a total ghost. Street, on the other hand, was basically coasting on his name. His dad was a relatively popular mayor of Philly and the weight of the Philly Dem machine. He was wholly uninspiring, and his previous work with the PA Dem Party was very mediocre. There were basically no ads on TV or otherwise for him anywhere. And my final thought on this is what an absolute embarrassment the Philly machine is. They are pathetic. They can't turn out voters. They basically solely exist as a crony protection racket for the people in charge. Cough, cough, Bob Brady. The Philly turnout has been consistently awful for years, and unless they clean house, it probably doesn't change. This is very, very bad for the most important city in a crucial swing state. Bob Brady needs to retire, bitch, like yesterday. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. The cope. The seethe. Centrism fan account. Centrism lost in your backyard. Just checking in on him. Lemau, not quite a massive turnout there for the most popular streamer in the history of the world. Like, seems charitably 100 people. Checking in with my favorite PA3 voter. Hope you haven't killed yourself. I shouldn't say that. Hope you're having a good time today. What is this? I know it's a lot more nuanced than this, AOC endorsement, etc., but does this mean Hassan the Hun officially has more star power in the party than Cory Booker? Lol. Fake demon? I mean, he fucking hates me so much. I mean, I'm sorry. Should I not stick a fucking knife in the wound here? Okay. Also, would it shock you to learn that the demographics of the area of West Philly where the park is located is at least 70, 80% black? Someone knows West Philly better than I do. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I maybe see 2 black people in the entire photo. So in other words, a typical DSA rally. Hey, wait, is that Fetterman Nazi Tattoo Guy's digital lady? I'm also certain it is. Oh, yeah, lol. No one ever said Hassan Porker doesn't show up for the primaries. He lives for that shit. Trying to get the DSA leftists to own the establishment is his Super Bowl. It's gotta hurt, right? It's gotta fucking hurt, right? A little bit. This your backyard, bitch? This your motherfucking backyard. You live there. What happened? And it's awesome because now you actually have a fantastic representative, okay? You have a fantastic representative, one of the best in the entire country. It's just like, it's so funny because this is genuinely a good thing, right? This is genuinely a great thing. And yet he probably fucking hates it. These people will cry, piss, and shit their pants into Medicare for all. They'll be like, no, I don't want it. Don't give it to me. Don't. Why? Why? No, I'm a fan account of centrism. No! Why will nobody think about the shareholders? Blue Cross Blue Shield, Aetna. No, Kal-El, no. Anyway, yeah, Victoria's candidates Cory Booker actively organized against Barack Obama, Zohran Mamdani, Chris Rabb. It's so funny. Cory Booker is just so bad. He tried to kneecap Obama's principal winning message at the apex of its censoricity to the 2012 campaign, both to please his donors and likely in the hope that Obama would lose and he could challenge Romney in 2016. Bros, does Cory Booker have the least amount of motion in the Democratic Party? Many people are asking, when Cory Booker shows up, is that the death throes of a campaign? Bros, is Cory Booker the hottest in the game right now? Burger King foot lettuce. Oh my Lord, maybe he should come on the HasanAbi broadcast to get a little bit of that shine. Maybe he can figure out how to be a popular guy in his own constituency. Ooh, sheesh. Anyway, yeah, I was a little petty white. I'll be honest. I was a little petty white. David Weigel reposted Chiose Cory Booker, sit down. And then David Weigel posted a Booker swooping in to a rally to a half full room of doomed Nepo candidate, indelible. Unfortunately, I said, if he wants to be in a packed room, he's going to have to come on the show, I guess. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, yeah. Don't forget the mayor endorsed him too, and she's up for re-election next year. She's in trouble if DSA runs someone. I think the DSA should run someone. That's true. That's true. Yeah, we text sometimes. It's no big deal. Hey, Chris, it's Hasan Piker. Wait, what is this from? Who's using? I mean, I say yes to, candidates using my fundraising, using my statements and stuff to fundraise. But it's funny that, is it Oliver Larkin? Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Hi, Chris. It's Hasan Piker. I texted all of you. Yeah, photos from PA3 candidate Sharif Street's Get Out the Vote rally with Senator Cory Booker and Mayor Sherrell Parker show a mostly empty room. I'll be honest, even until the very last moment, and you'll see it, I was doing the podcast while I was like refreshing the fucking results. I'm always worried. I was worried, Look at his face. Oh, that's so good. I'm always a doomer. No, man, I'm realistic. I know how malleable the electorate is. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm gonna continue being a little worried. It always seems impossible until it's done. Okay. Speaking of the Piker bump, because of this, the Hamawi campaign had asked me to do a rally with them before, and it wasn't working out in my insane schedule, but I am going to do a Hamawi rally as well in New Jersey. So, let's get another dub. Adam Hamawi, also another stud. Incredible candidate. I told you to relax in the chat. Go look at my logs from yesterday. Everything went as expected. Okay, listen. Rick Scott was just live talking shit about you on Associated Press. Wait, really? What'd he say? What'd that fucking lizard person say? Speaking of the Piker bump, I'm Mpreg and it's yours. Text me. No. Philly has profound untapped potential, and that's the realistic take. There's simply no hope behind any establishment Dem candidates in Philly. Any DSA boost you gave here would potentially rewrite the city's political potential, to be honest. I think that there's an opportunity not just in Philadelphia. There's an opportunity beyond Philadelphia. I'm telling you right now, and yes, I'm working on doing something with Francesca Hong too in Wisconsin. Don't you worry about it, okay? Listen to me. This is very important, okay? There is tremendous revolutionary potential in the South. Places that have been left behind. Places that have been long forgotten, okay? There is an opportunity to organize there. That's why I always urge you. What did I say when I went to the DSA conference? One of the most interesting conversations I had there was always DSA orgs from red states and, red areas in general. There is a phenomenal opportunity to organize, and that organizing revolves around Black socialism in particular. Okay, My friend from Alabama said Democratic voters have doubled since the last election, 44%, I believe. No, we're talking about beyond. I think it's first, it's Georgia, then it's fucking Alabama, Mississippi, Kentucky, everywhere. I think people are overstating their case. Progressives have not won the popular vote and turnout was not great. Unfortunately, that freak from before was half right. Not that this victory is insignificant, and also Pennsylvania isn't the South, it's the second state to the New York and the North. No, I know. I'm saying that's where we should be focusing our efforts on. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight. What are you talking about? Even this is a massively consequential victory. Don't fucking undermine it. Are you crazy? This matters quite a bit. What, you think beating the establishment election machine is not significant? That's crazy. They knocked on basically 20% of the fucking entire district's doors, man. Are you out of your mind? This kind of shit doesn't happen. It doesn't happen with moneyed interest, okay? We're talking about 44%, almost 50% of the three-person race. I'm serious. Beating the establishment of the party piece by piece in safe districts and in unsafe districts, in purple districts, in the bluest districts, it all matters, okay? It all builds on top of one another. Think about the prestige and the awareness to democratic socialism Zoran brings anytime he makes a good decision, anytime he achieves something as the mayor of New York, where people go, why can't we have that? It's unbelievably important. I personally think a different kind of Democrat working in deep blue districts is, in my opinion, more difficult. Like, look at San Francisco. I think San Francisco is a tough one, is a far tougher race than a place like Philadelphia, where like when there's any sort of disenfranchisement, there's anger and there's resentment. San Francisco is a liberal safe haven for the most part. That's why it's more difficult to win in the San Francisco primaries with an insurgent candidate than it is seemingly in Philadelphia. And the more there is, the further disenfranchisement exists, the more a different kind of Democrat works. So I genuinely think that places in the South could show up big, where they already have resentment towards the Democrats, and we could use that pre-existing resentment that we have towards the establishment Democrats to our advantage. That's the way I see it. What is this? This pig too? Yeah, this is funny. Yeah, he thought it was a one-way street. Turns out there was different ways. A DSA guy got 22% in Alabama last night. Anyway, let's continue with this.
We won, and this is not the end. This is just the beginning. I see you. I know what we're capable of. I see your beauty. I see your power. I feel your radiant love. That is what has inspired me in this journey. Those people closest to the pain. I see you, and I thank you. I just want to be the best damn congressperson I can be for the people. And we made this happen because of the people I have surrounded myself with. Mom, my loved ones, my family, all of those who hold me dear, and my campaign team. And when I say my campaign team, that radiates to all of my amazing volunteers as well. And it includes all of those amazing public servants, not politicians. They can keep their endorsements. But I know some public servants. I know a Congresswoman Summer Lee House. They didn't say she could win either. All of those electeds, those public servants, all of those amazing grassroots organizations, all of those members of organized labor. We do this in community because beyond this moment is movement. And we know how important movement is because we see what's going on right now on the federal level. We see the erosion of our rights and civil liberties. And we know that the only way we can move towards a multiracial democracy is by showing up for each other. Systemic change. And I have been critiqued along this campaign for being too radical, being too bold. And this has been a unique primary where for the first time in 35 years there was not an incumbent on the ballot. And I want to take a moment to thank my opponents
for being awful.
It's not easy to run for office. And I thank all of them.
The sweat rag is peak bald guy.
Intense moments and moments of levity. I thank all of them. I want to say,
yeah, thank you for splitting the vote. Thank you for being terrible, honestly.
Because we're about to party.
Because, like, sometimes people go, oh, it's because this was a split race, like, blah, 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 all this shit. Bro, he got 44% of the vote, dog. Like, it's not, in a three-way split, he still got 44%. Like, it's very likely that if there was an establishment Democrat versus just him, he could have had an even higher margin of victory. The idea that, like, all of these voters are rational actors and they swung in that direction because they were principled centrist or whatever is fucking stupid. I'm telling you, I think establishment versus insurgency is even more beneficial. What will happen all around the country is a Graham Plattner, Janet Mills style situation. The only reason why that doesn't take place usually is because there's like a Goldilocks progressive centrist candidate, usually like Mallory McMorrow, you know, as well as like a uncharismatic establishment vehicle like Haley Stevens, as we've seen in the Abdul El-Sayed race.
I did not know what the outcome would be tonight.
They put me in an AI-generated ad?
Right. But I know what justice looks like. And we don't do it alone. I chose to run because I felt the breath of my ancestors on the back of my neck. I carry my ancestors with me who've been fighting for racial justice in this nation for centuries and generations. But as much as I've been inspired by my ancestors, abolitionists, freedom fighters, civil rights activists, and aggressive badasses, I am also inspired by future generations, by the young people I'm looking at in this crowd and beyond. I'm a formerly young person, I see you. There's an unbroken chain between the past, the present, and the future. And we have to dream big and organize hard to get everything that we deserve. And I am so
I'm a former young person.
thankful to be surrounded by so many loved ones, so many people who are dedicated to service and community and care and radiant love.
Forbes clipped out. Just in, Rick Scott calls out Hasan Piker, who allegedly wants me murdered. Hasan is innocent. What is American politics? Rick Scott, you are so bitch made, bro. I do not want you murdered, dumbass. God damn. Oh my God. He is such a bitch.
My brother. But the real reason I ran was because of my sons. I love you. All right, before I start crying, let me just say that it's more than just vibes that made this happen. Nearly 8,000 people donated to my campaign, and not a single dollar came from a corporate PAC. Not a dime. It came from you. It came from you. And for all of those people who fought the good fight with me shoulder to shoulder, I see you. I thank you. And I love you. All the people who weren't supposed to come together. Jewish folk, Muslims, atheists. We're not supposed to be partying, but we do what we do, and we do it in community, and radiant love. This is an aggressively community here. This is what our district looks like. And we deserve the very best. They believe in collective action. We are indomitable. All right, it's time to party.
Does RABB hate Christians? Oh my God. All right. So
it's just been an over.
Let's look at this analysis. Now, one thing you might have noticed, and I think this is very interesting. A lot of the mainstream attention in the Pennsylvania races did not really focus on Pennsylvania 3rd. And I don't know what that's about. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't a relevant race. I don't know what it is. It was very relevant for us, but they didn't talk about this contested three-way race. Like Summer Lee, obviously won 81%, right? Summer Lee was attacked mercilessly by AIPAC and the Israel lobby, and she defeated them. And then at that point, because there's only a finite amount of money that these organizations have, they didn't pursue the Summer Lee seat as aggressively as they have. There are certain national politicians that AIPAC will consistently try to unseat, regardless of how strong they are in their districts. They gave up on Summer. They had not in the past. They came after her so viciously, right? This time, it was done. It was over. Yeah, Saddam Lee, 81%. It makes sense because that's a given for her primary, okay? So there's not a lot of media attention. Also, I do think that by and large, there isn't a lot of attention. I mean, this is what she says as well, and I agree with it. There isn't a lot of attention spent on black women in mainstream media in general, like across the board. So that's one and two. But the race in Pennsylvania 3rd was a contentious race. It was contested. It was a three-way split. You had the establishment working on the one side. You had the insurgent candidacy of Chris RABB on the other. And yet, interestingly enough, there wasn't a lot of attention on it. There wasn't a lot of emphasis on it. And I don't know why that's the case. But let's take a look at how Steve Kornacki, Khaki Boy, had to cover this race. Let's take a look.
By RABB on election day, the folks who went and turned out at the polls today, you could just see he's now built nearly a 20,000 vote lead with more to come. He's basically winning half of the election day vote. Stanford, who had done so well in the vote by mail, the floor just absolutely fell out for her in the.
How is banning certain words progressive? I don't know. If you say slurs, you can't say them. Like, that's just how it is.
Election day, in that election day vote, again, we talk about the diversity as district. I mentioned this before. Slightly larger black population than white population. Both are substantial. And RABB's message seems to be resonating particularly in the majority white precincts. That's where he has really turned it on with this election day vote has been in majority white precincts, where, again, he's getting upwards of 3/4 of the vote. In the election day vote in those precincts here. He's not even winning in the majority black precincts, either overall or with the election day vote. Sharif Street's winning the majority black precincts here. In fact, right now,
at the end of it all, he literally got 1/3 of the black vote. Okay. Yes, he cleaned house in the district in the white districts, certainly. And he absolutely had the overwhelming majority of white voters that voted in this district, but white voters are a minority in this district. He got 70% of the white vote, and he got 1/3 of the black vote, split between 3 black candidates. Only 1/3. That's still not good, bro. Dog, the fuck do you mean that's still not good? It was split between 3 black candidates. The fuck are you talking about? This is a way to try to negatively frame a victory here, okay? Understand the reason why the reason why people do this is to basically make it seem like, oh, it's just the whites that actually it's just the whites that went out and voted for Chris RABB because he's a socialist. Okay, that's what it is.
Now RABB is running in third place overall in majority black precincts, with 28% of the vote. So he's really gotten it from the majority white precincts in the city of Philadelphia that are part of this district here, but just overwhelming support that he's seen on Election Day here. And yeah, this is a feather in the cap of that of the left wing of the Democratic Party. A victory here for somebody, you know, aligned with the Democratic Socialists of America.
That's right,
we
baby.
We are here in our virtual election headquarters today, where we have the results of the big races in Pennsylvania that could shift the balance of power in Washington. The primary election for Pennsylvania's 3rd district has been one of the most competitive and most highly watched in our entire region. State Representative Chris RABB is the projected winner. And with no Republican running, he will likely head to Washington in January.
Like, if in a district that's 51% black, if Chris RABB, who is also black himself, by the way, did not secure a decent chunk of the black vote, he would not have won. Okay? There's no way to make up for that loss. So no matter which way you cut it, he had to still very clearly secure a decent chunk of the black vote. It's that simple. And he did.
Effectively succeeding the 3rd district's longtime representative Dwight Evans. And even though many of last night's races have already been called, this morning poll workers are still hard at work making sure each and every voter's voice is heard. CBS News Philadelphia's Waukesha Bailey is live for us this morning from the city's election warehouse in Northeast Philadelphia, where vote counting continues at this hour. Waukesha, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Jan. That's right. Election workers have been working throughout the night to get those ballots counted. Now, while you just mentioned that one of the major races in our city does have a projected winner, you know, these votes still are not finalized. But speaking of that projected winner, Chris RABB, he made his victory speech last night. And of course, we were there, and his message was very simple. I believe that we just won! So you're looking at Chris RABB speaking to supporters after being named the projected winner in Pennsylvania's 3rd congressional district.
Yeah, here was my message from when I stumped with Chris. That there's never enough money for healthcare in this country. If you're mad that there's never enough money for healthcare in this country, but unlimited funds to bomb other countries, well, you have an opportunity to make that change. You have an opportunity to let your voice be heard. For far too long, people have been told, myself included, that we have to vote for harm reduction. We have to vote because we have to vote against the Republican Party. We all know the Republican Party is bad. But you now have an opportunity to vote for something. And not just Chris, but you have an opportunity to vote for Medicare for all, knowing full well that he's going to fight that battle for you. You have an opportunity to vote for a jobs guarantee, endless militarism, ending the endless militarism, to make sure that every single dollar that we spend on new ways to murder children overseas can be spent here taking care of our children, taking care of your family members, to make sure that instead of spending all that money blowing up schools overseas, we spend that money on building schools right here. And this is a universal value that many of you share, and that's precisely the reason why the vote that you cast is not just for Philadelphia, it's not just for Pennsylvania, it's not just for even places like myself in Los Angeles, California, it's for people overseas as well. It's for everybody else. Vibes edit from the Philly Canvas Rally. The photos from the event were bangers, by the way.
Money. For 10 years I've been in public office in the state legislature, not a dime.
You use this line a lot. Write new materials, you hack. Okay, dude.
People to know is not because some corporation has its fingerprints, but I'm speaking for the people. Special numbers that mean a lot to you. 18 is significant to a lot of folks in the Jewish faith who've given me money. 27 is a number that a lot of Bernie-crats, right? 16 is my favorite number because it represents my 16 great-great-grandparents, all of whom were born into slavery, all who died free. Not a one of them was waiting for Abraham Lincoln. They died free because they saved themselves. So 16 is an important number to me. Whatever important number is to you, I would love for you to give me that number in U.S. dollars. Did you say 3,500 is your favorite number? $250, whatever it is, I want you to, this is important. 6-7, I love it. Is it 6 or 7 or is it 67? I'll take 67. All right. Whatever that number is, I need you to understand that whatever that dollar amount is more than I started with.
6-7, dude. You said the number. You said the number. He said it. Anyway, let's keep going with
The
this.
district
And then
stretches across Northwest.
once we're done with this victory lap, we'll get to Rick Scott, Ricardo Jedediah Scott, complaining about how I'm trying to assassinate him or some shit.
In West Philadelphia, including parts of southwest Philadelphia and Center City. RABB won with 44.3% of the vote.
Yeah,
as
Rick
a
Scott, more like bitch Scott.
Of supporting policies, including Medicare for all, and received the endorsement of Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who campaigned with him last week. Now, as results came in Tuesday night, RABB shared an emotional moment, saying he at one point considered dropping out of the race, but his mother encouraged him to keep going. He also told supporters this victory belonged to a movement and not just him.
That's crazy.
Beyond this moment is movement. And we know how important movement is because we see what's going on right now on the federal level. We see the erosion of our rights and civil liberties. And we know that the only way we can move towards a multiracial democracy is by showing up for each other.
And once again, we are back out here live this morning inside the election warehouse, where about 87% of votes have been counted. And as you can see, workers are starting to begin to arrive back this morning after taking a little break. So RABB is now poised to succeed Congressman Dwight Evans, who has served in Congress representing our area since 2016. Jan.
Waukesha, thanks so much. The work continues there in Northeast Philadelphia. Appreciate you. Also, our coverage continues. Let's take a look at the results in the 1st Congressional District now, which covers Bucks County and parts of Montgomery County. Bob Harvey is the projected winner in that race. He will run against Republican Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick in November. And in House District 7, which covers Carbon, Lehigh, and Northampton counties, Bob Brooks is the projected winner. He will run against GOP Congressman Ryan McKenzie in the fall. And we have all the results from the Pennsylvania primary right there on our website, cbsphiladelphia.com.
Another show of strength for President Trump.
All right, before we get to Thomas Massey and another Israel bought seat in Kentucky, let's talk about this dickhead real quick. Rick Scott is out here at the announcement of the indictment for 94-year-old Raul Castro, former president of Cuba. This is one of the silly things that the administration is doing, where they're gonna indict Raul Castro, and I guess use that as a reason for why they have to take like some kind of military action. Maybe there'll be this exchange where in exchange for 94-year-old Raul Castro, they'll leave Cuba alone and maybe commit to a deal with Cuba. Hopefully, that would be the best case scenario, obviously. But here's what he had to say at the announcement of the indictment in Florida.
I want to get your reaction. Senators Kaine, Schiff, and Gallego today are introducing a Cuban war powers resolution that would basically hamper any U.S. hostilities against Cuba. Just your thoughts on that.
Well, first off, I'm disgusted by what the Democrats have done. They've gone down there to prop up the Cuban regime. That's the face of the Cuban regime. There's a guy, Hasan Piker, they campaign with, that went down there with him, that wants me murdered, wants all the capitalists in this country murdered.
Yo, I never thought we would, bro, even he doesn't fuck with this. Look at his face. He's like, come on, man. He's like, really? Really? You're doing this shit again? Bitch, Scott, you are so bitch made. It's crazy. This motherfucker's still talking about you. I know, he cries every day, dude. He's trying to make it happen so bad. He's trying to make it so bad. He's trying to make it happen so motherfucking bad. He's like, please, 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 please. Can somebody pay attention to this, please? I mean, this guy wants me murdered. This guy wants me murdered. And everybody around him is like, come on, old man. It's not real, okay? It's not happening. Nobody cares.
And Democrats are campaigning with him, so it's going to be a typical. They're all. I mean, I don't get the Democrats. Like, they want to live in freedom and democracy? Don't they want people in Cuba and Iran and places? Don't they want them to have the same opportunities you and I have? But it's like they don't. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know if anybody wants to add anything.
No, it makes zero sense at all. The fact that you have Democrat senators who want to stop the United States government and stop President Trump from doing what he can to help free Cuba from more than 60 years of totalitarianism and a dictatorship. But
man, shut the fuck up, dude. Oh my God. We've literally never allowed Cuba to fucking breathe, okay? We've never allowed them to have sovereignty and dignity, which they fought for and won without punishment, okay? We've never allowed them to exist as a normal country for the crime of fighting and winning, securing sovereignty and dignity for themselves, okay? It's ridiculous. It's unnecessarily cruel. It makes no fucking sense, but that's just American foreign policy. Unchecked, untested. It's always unopposed. I'm glad that there are certain Democrats, even Ruben Gallego, which is shocking. Obviously, Pramila Jayapal has been at the forefront of this movement, and for that, I really have a lot of respect for her, a lot of admiration for her on this issue. But you know, Democrats are actually using this opportunity, this instability that Donald Trump has brought about the rest of the world, and certainly its impact is being felt in America as well, to finally say, what are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? We have to put an end to this, right? Dressed up as Fuentes again, bro? Yes, Nick Fuentes. Invented wearing suits famously. I genuinely think you should be a little bit more embarrassed to say such a fucking stupid thing, okay? Like, you truly have to have a little bit more shame, big dog. I mean, honestly, like, how unbelievably low IQ are you that you're like, this is the only person that I have a frame of reference for? You genuinely sound like a guy who's only seen Boss Baby as a movie, and you're like, wow, this movie, I'm watching Schindler's List, and guess what? You might have guessed it. It's giving Boss Baby vibes, okay? I have no other frame of reference to point to beyond fucking Boss Baby. And the Boss Baby of political commentary is Nicholas Fuentes, the gay Mexican neo-Nazi manlet. Why is Boss Baby catching strays? What is this? Stop biting the bait, people. Also polling. New York Times CNN favorables among potential Republican supporters. Joe Rogan plus 48. Tucker Carlson plus 8. Nick Fuentes minus 7. Age 18 to 44. Joe Rogan plus 62. Tucker Carlson plus 18. Nick Fuentes minus 18. What the fuck? I would have expected 18 to 44 to be more favorable to Nick Fuentes than the overall. Ages 45 plus. Wait, what the fuck? This guy. Wait, what? The Groyper audience is all fucking olds? Wait, what the fuck? Oh my God. Oh my God. How is that possible? I don't think so. It's just one poll. So what is it? The fucking Groyper movement is just like really old people and the most diverse movement you've ever seen under the age of 18, I guess. It's all like little babies and grandparents. Is that what it is? How is that possible? Yeah. Guy who's only seen the Boss Baby. This is the joke I was making. Yes. Guy who's only seen the Boss Baby. Watching the second movie. Getting a lot of Boss Baby vibes from this. Acting like old Americans are the most racist group is crazy work. I know, but it's like still shocking. What are they on, fucking Kick? Or wherever he streams, Rumble? Anyway, that's a shocking revelation for me. But yeah, we'll get back to the Raul Castro stuff in a second. But obviously, it's an incredibly stupid thing that the administration is doing. It's an incredibly violent thing that the administration is doing after starving the Cuban population for the last couple of months with this full-blown oil blockade. The island's out of power again. Nobody wants this. What am I supposed to say here? Who is asking for this? Who is like, oh my God, my life would be so much better with the exception of the Gusano lobby in fucking South Florida. Okay, who? Like Miami Cubans are a marginal movement here. Okay, they're loud, sure, but they're not exactly the constituency people are, giving a shit about. Is Trump really suffering with the diasporoid Miami Cubans? I know that foreign policy is probably one of the least democratic parts of American governance, not very responsive to the needs of the masses. Look no further than what's going on in Iran, right? Nobody wants that shit, and Donald Trump is still doing it because he fucking loves Israel. But this is one of those things that's just like senseless cruelty. It's just senseless cruelty for no reason. It's costing American taxpayers an indecent amount of money, and we are just being unnecessarily cruel for no reason. There's no democratic purpose for this. There's no like real constituency that this serves. We're just being cruel for the sake of cruelty. It makes no sense. There is just like in the case with Iran, certainly in Cuba as well, the Cuban government wants to cut a deal with America. They want American economic activity in the country. They want to liberalize their economy. They want to market. They want to have some kind of, market system. They've moved in that direction with the Barack Obama normalization. And Donald Trump ripped that shit apart when he came into office the first time around, and he added secondary sanctions in 2019, making it much more difficult to trade with Cuba. It was already pretty difficult to trade with Cuba. If you're a deal maker, make a fucking deal. I know for a fact that the government is down to do it. Like, why? Why do you're like a playground bully, and the weaker Trump feels, the more cruel he gets to countries that don't have a defense mechanism against this kind of cruelty. Of course, the thing that they're using is the Brothers of the Rescue shoot down, right? I've talked about this before. It's completely ridiculous, obviously. The American government has, the CIA has, actively tried to fuck with Cuba through covert operations, through direct military operations as well. And one of the incidents that took place was the Brothers to the Rescue shoot down. Let's take a look at the CNN coverage, and I'll give you more details on what took place and why it happened. Because, like, if you're looking at the Raul Castro indictment, which they'll get to, they're using that as a reason to indict this 94-year-old former leader of Cuba. Okay, he's fucking bedridden. Once again, America taking massive dubs here. We killed the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, fucking 87 years old, dude, in his home. We assassinated him alongside his family in his home. Oh, what a profound military achievement that was. And now what? We're arresting a 94-year-old man? What the fuck are we doing? This is supposed to be the wealthiest nation on earth, which we are, supposed to have the strongest fucking military, and all we can do is just senseless cruelty to a country that we've robbed blind, kept poor deliberately, whose former leadership is 94 years old. Who is this for? What kind of boomer nonsense is this? Who's asking for it? Who are you fucking owning here?
Decades-long contentious relationship between the United States and Cuba. Just a short time ago, the Department of Justice unsealed criminal charges against former Cuban President Raul Castro. Prosecutors charging him with conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals, destruction of an aircraft, and 4 counts of murder. Acting Attorney General Todd Bland saying this to Cuban Americans who have been demanding justice for years.
We also do not forget the families, the loved ones, and the friends who have killed.
Yo, do this shit to Israel, man. Israel is currently killing American citizens. You know what I mean? Like, Israel's doing it right now. Do it to Israel. What do you mean you're doing it to fucking Cuba?
Carried grief and heartache for 30 years. For the first time in nearly 70 years, senior leadership of the Cuban regime has been.
Wait, what? Thanks for checking in, sir. Had a great time in D.C. yesterday. Got to see my mom today after she got out of the hospital after having a major surgery. And most importantly, I still have a normal-sized head that is proportional to the rest of my body. Okay, that's kind of a cute response. I thought he would have been more angry. Maybe he's softening to the left movement, you know? Liberal lawyer pulling 44% in the bluest district in the country while running as a strong supporter of what you call the 90-10 issue. Crazy times. Brother, give up. You got to give up on Israel, man. You got to give up. It's like the fucking meme of the Gucci bag. You're still holding on to it. It's just, it's gone. It's done. Okay? It's done. Even with the fucking funding initiatives, it's so done. Why? Why are you still doing it? Yeah, maybe he got hit with the Rapture, the centrism fan account, and now he's actually a part of the Rabmentum. He's a democratic socialist now. Soon he will be center-left fan account. Yeah. Yeah, the way legacy media leaves out so much of the story about the bogus indictment of Raul Castro is wild. An investigation by CBS News in 2011 into declassified documents related to the case revealed a trove of communications that were ignored and pushed aside. They showed that the Cuban government had been protesting the flights for at least 17 to 18 months leading up to the shootdown, how the Clinton administration didn't take the matter seriously, and how the FAA was in the process of revoking the group's leader's pilot's license but pulled back for an unknown reason. Yeah, this also came on the heels of the CIA literally deploying pesticide resilient pests to destroy the agricultural crop of Cuba. They did that shit. Okay. Of course, if you're constantly under siege warfare like conditions from the most powerful hegemon on the planet that's 90 miles off your coastline, yeah, you're gonna fucking protect your airspace. Okay. You're going to protect your fucking airspace. What are we talking about? They kept giving fucking warnings and the dudes flew over regardless. Like, it's so stupid. The idea that this is like a crazy crime that the Cuban government committed to. Look at what America did with a random with a random weather balloon that happened to fly over American airspace because it just like literally got pushed with the wind. We deployed fighter jets, okay? Every country will, of course, protect their airspace, especially if they're under siege warfare-like conditions by one of the most powerful countries on the planet. Yeah, this is a sad incident that happened like 30 years ago. If this was some serious pressing matter to address, you'd think they would do it sometime in the past 3 decades. Or like the other side of the story is this happened recently. A similar incident took place recently, okay, where there were supposed to be 2 boats, but unfortunately they could only get 1 boat. One boat full of Cuban Americans with a fuck ton of weapons tried to invade the island of Cuba. This happened a couple months prior. If you recall, I covered it. And then they got intercepted by the Cuban Coast Guard. And what did they do when they got intercepted by the Cuban Coast Guard? They opened fire. And then the Cuban Coast Guard shot them and killed a couple of them and then treated the rest of them in a Cuban hospital. Like, that happened a couple months ago. So America hasn't stopped doing this shit, right? So yeah, of course they're going to fucking defend their territory. They're going to defend their airspace. What are we talking about? Like, it's the most normal thing a country can do.
And charged in this country, in the United States of America, for acts of violence resulting in the deaths of American citizens. Nations and their leaders cannot be permitted to target Americans.
Except for Israel, by the way. Except for the beautiful nation state of Israel. And no, I'm not even talking about USS Liberty, right? What is this? Hesa Papa? Hesa Papa, thank you for the raid. Hope you had a good stream. I don't know what's going on here, but W raid. Unser Lübin für die FDGO. Glück auf Hesa Papa 07. What is happening? The German podcast duo. Sehr gut. Sehr gut. Hesa Papa. What a nice raid for you. Thank you, Hesa Papa. Mes leg Eier. Jawohl. Not gut. Mes is not gut. Hesa Papa. Sehr gut. They're going to leave. Please inform me when Israel killed American citizens. Buddy, gun for hire. Have you been paying attention for like the last couple of years? I mean, they've never stopped killing American citizens. You just don't hear about it here. They kill them in the West Bank. They kill them in Gaza. Rachel Corrie. And then, obviously, on top of that, you got the USS Liberty incident. If you want to think that, if you think that that's, you know, a long time ago, that's fine. I mean, they've killed plenty of American civilians as well. I just got here, gang. Okay, gang. Well, Trek APAC. Here are some of the American citizens that were killed by Israel. Nasrallah Abu Siam, age 19, murdered by Israeli settlers. Khamis Ayad, age 40, murdered by Israeli settlers July 31st, 2025. Saifullah Musallet, age 20, murdered by Israeli settlers July 11th, 2025. Amar Mohammed Sadar Rabi, age 14, murdered by Israeli occupation forces April 6, 2025. Kamal Ahmad Jawad, age 56, murdered by Israeli bombing in Lebanon October 1st, 2024. Ayşenur Ezgi, Turkish-American citizen, murdered by Israeli occupation forces September 6, 2024. Jacob Flickinger, age 33, murdered by Israeli occupation forces April 1st, 2024. Mohammed Kudur, age 17, murdered by Israeli occupation forces February 10th, 2024. Shireen Abu Akleh, murdered by Israeli occupation forces, incredibly famous journalist, directly sniped in the West Bank by Israeli occupation forces May 11th, 2022. Rachel Corrie is another famous incident as well. Furkan Doğan is another Turkish-American, age 18, killed by Israel on May 31st, 2010. Rachel Corrie, age 23, killed by Israel on March 16th, 2003. Shireen Abu Akleh had a press vest and a helmet on, too. They sniped her in the neck. And then they, of course, lied about it and said, oh, Hamas did it in the fucking West Bank. The Israeli occupation forces raided her funeral. So, yeah, Charlie Kirk, allegedly. Anyway, so that's what it is. Sorry, I know. Benjamin Netanyahu said they didn't do that one. I know he said that, but it's up to you to believe him.
Let's get reaction on this historic indictment live from Havana with CNN's Patrick Ottman. Patrick, how are Cuban officials reacting to these new criminal charges?
We're finally getting some reaction after really silence all day long that this indictment was coming, as everyone has known for days. And this is Cuba's President Miguel Diaz-Canel. I'll just read a little bit of it. But he says that the indictment against Raul Castro, quote, just announced by the U.S. government, only reveals the arrogance and frustration that the representatives of the empire feel toward the unyielding resolve of the Cuban Revolution. He goes on to say that there's no legal basis, that Cuba 30 years ago was defending itself against the Brothers to the Rescue. Planes
is 100% true, by the way. This statement from the Cuban administration is just correct, objectively. And you don't have to be particularly brilliant to understand that, yes, a country that is like under siege warfare by the largest, most powerful military on the fucking planet has absolutely a right to protect its own airspace, okay? It's ridiculous. Downing a spy plane after 7 months of warning is not unacceptable. 17. And they kept doing the flights regardless. And not only that, but the FAA wanted to actually stop them and take their license away, as the CBS investigation showed. And mysteriously, the FAA was stopped from revoking the fucking license. What? Zionist Rappaport versus anti-Zionist Hassan?
On the same time. Michael Rappaport, we celebrate a diversity of voices on the show.
What the fuck is this, man? All right, let's continue.
As we know, we're unarmed, but the Cuban government had accused them of coming into Cuban airspace previously. So officials here are very angry. They're not surprised by this. Certainly after we saw Nicolas Maduro get taken by U.S. Special Forces at the beginning of the year, they have known that this could be coming, that this was in the works. They have been threatened by the U.S. As we have seen this relentless pressure campaign go on to try and force Cuban government officials to make larger concessions to the United States, to open up their political and economic system here, something they have refused to do now as they have engaged with the Trump administration. But negotiations just really don't seem to have gone anywhere. And the question is now, does this added pressure, indicting not only a former president, but still the most powerful person on this island, the individual who is head of the military, that has handpicked every political and military leader that is in power at this point, that officials tell us still oversees all the major decisions from retirement that this island takes, particularly when it comes towards relations with the U.S. Does indicting him make a deal more likely or less likely? There is a lot to say about the fact that Cuba feels that an invasion is coming. You see every day officials telling their population to get ready. There are military maneuvers taking place. So certainly what the Cuban officials are telling their people, who are very worried about this, not particularly about what it's going to happen to officials, but what it means for themselves. So already an island that is on the point of breaking. If there is some sort of attack on this island, what would that mean for them? Already the power's off most of the day. Food has become more scarce and expensive. So there is a lot of concern amongst regular Cubans about how this could impact them if the breakdown of law and order of their government would essentially create a humanitarian crisis.
Patrick Ottman live for us in Havana. Thank you so much for that update. The acting AG, Todd Blanche, was actually...
Yeah, if you want to know exactly what's going on, Donald Trump ate shit in Iran, so now he has to enforce his power somewhere, and Cuba's the next target. That's how little these guys care about an island nation with 9 million or so people living on it, that they're just actively starving the island. They're killing babies on the island when there's no energy on the energy grid. Hospitals inevitably cave. They give up. They can't fucking protect people. America has successfully increased childhood, like the mortality rates of babies in fucking incubators in this country that otherwise has free national health care. It's totally ridiculous. I mean, it's so fucking evil. It is so monstrous. It is so goddamn evil.
Asked what was next? What was the next step in this? Would we see the United States intervene in Cuba and extradite the 94-year-old Castro the way that the U.S. did in Venezuela in its extradition of Nicolás Maduro? Here was his response.
Yes, go ahead.
Attorney General Gloria Ordaz from Telemundo 51. Thank you for this opportunity. The next step is going to be an arrest warrant, and I ask you this because the Cuban exile would love to see Raúl Castro in the same position of Nicolás Maduro.
Man, shut the fuck up, dude. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, yeah, the Cuban exiles would love to see a 94-year-old former leader of the country in the same position in jail. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What kind of country is this? Where we're at the, mercy of some of the most rabid fucking right-wing freaks that are advancing their own, ethnic grievances. This is what this country is about. As long as it aligns with the personal interest of securing like a hollow victory somehow with the American state, that we decide to fucking starve people. It's so fucking preposterous, dude. It's so pathetic. It's unbelievably pathetic. It's disgusting.
And
they're clapping for it. Oh, what a fucking nasty room.
And a lot of legal experts that we have interviewed during these days have said that Raúl Castro, that this indictment will be more symbolic than practice, and that Raúl Castro should probably die in Cuba. What is your message for them?
Ex-Nazi soldiers, if they're found, are still being prosecuted in Germany. Look it up, so you can't play a card on being 100 years old. Did you just compare Raúl Castro to fucking former Nazis? You can't be this stupid, right? I'm saying he didn't do anything criminal, you fucking idiot. These are dumbass, trumped-up charges to begin with. If there was any semblance of international law, the rest of the fucking world would look at this and go, you should be indicted. You should be in prison. The fuck do you mean? But of course, we don't live in that world. There is no real international law. It doesn't matter. Age doesn't matter. I gave you an example. Oh my God. You gave me a stupid example because the point that I'm making is not just that he's old, but you have the brain of a fucking baboon. So you're hyper focusing on that aspect of it because you think there's an ownage there. You can't compare war criminal Nazis to the former leader of Cuba because there's no real crime to indict him on beyond the Cuban military defending its fucking territorial airspace. What are you talking about? The indictment is already bullshit. The fact that he's 94 and the former leader also makes it extra bullshit. Okay? It's insult to injury. Age doesn't matter. Okay, great.
Well, I'm not going to compare cases, for one. For two...
Yeah, Trump unironically has downed more fishing boats and more planes in general around the fucking world. The American government has blown up more civilian aircraft than the Cuban government ever could, but it's okay because it's America doing it.
Like I said a few minutes ago, we indict men who are not physically within the United States all the time. This is not a new endeavor or adventure for us. And so the way that we get people here who are charged with a crime varies. There's all kinds of different ways. And this is not, there's an arrest warrant issued for a reason, because we certainly expect and believe that Mr. Castro is entitled to his day in court right here in Miami.
CNN senior national security reporter Jennifer Hansloff kicks off our coverage. So Jennifer, just in terms of these criminal charges being announced against Raúl Castro, I mean, this is all part of this pressure campaign, an economic pressure campaign, and a political pressure campaign that the U.S. is really leveraging over the island. Just walk us through what we can actually expect from Todd Blanche when we hear from him shortly.
Well, that's right, Zane. This is a significant escalation in that ongoing campaign against Havana. When we hear from Todd Blanche, we expect him to kick off, of course, with the fact that...
I get what he means. You really brought it across as if it's age-related, even if the comparison is stupid. Chatters, when you hear someone who is unfathomably stupid, you don't have to hand it to them and demonstrate that you too are also unfathomably stupid. Okay? It's a really cool exercise that you don't have to partake in. Because I didn't just talk about the fact that he's 94. I also talked about extensively the fact that the crime that he supposedly committed, okay, was the Cuban military defending its own territorial airspace. Okay? That's not a real crime at all. The fact that he's 94 years old and bedridden also makes it incredibly stupid. It makes it extra dumb. The point that I'm making is not that this is a vicious war criminal, but he's 94, so we should let him go. Okay? This must be their sock account. Their following date is the exact same date as the other guy. Wait, shut the fuck up. Hold on. Let me pull it up at the same time. No way. There ain't no way a guy came in here, made a dumbass point, got yelled at, and then he went on his sock account to be like, actually, that previous guy had a really good point. No, this is probably the same sock account. This is created in 2014, man. No, it's not. It can't be. It's way too much work. What was the other guy's username? What? Okay, pull me out and him. Was this the other guy? Yeah, it's not the same day anyway. Oh yeah, no. It was worse than that. It was literally a guy making a dumb point and then another guy going, well, there's a lot of dumb people in here. You shouldn't mention how silly it is to fucking try to offer a sham trial for a 94-year-old former leader of a state because there's dumb guys in here. No, I'm not going to do that, okay? The trial is a fucking sham. We have no reason to do this at all. It's very clearly not an imminent threat, or wasn't even an imminent threat because it didn't get enforced at the time. And it's a series of long-standing interventions in Cuba that America engaged in. And in this circumstance, of course, the Cuban military defended its territorial airspace after giving clear warnings over and over again.
The U.S. has now indicted the former president of Cuba, Raul Castro, stemming back toward that 1996 shoot down of a plane that killed 3 Americans. Now, they have just unsealed that indictment against both Castro and 5 other defendants. The charges that were unveiled against Castro are conspiracy to kill U.S. nationals, destruction of aircraft, and murder. So they are going to announce those charges among...
It's not what I said. I myself don't have a lot of background knowledge regarding... Oh my God, dude, stop defending this point. I already explained the thorough background knowledge. You just didn't hear it. You're literally arguing with me because you're saying, well, I didn't hear what you had to say initially. So I lasered in on the 94-year-old point. What are we doing? Now we're having a meta conversation about the way that I'm doing commentary. Please stop. Take a fucking hour off. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Why does everything have to turn into a fucking argument? Brother, you didn't hear the words coming out of my mouth. It's fine, okay? That's not my fucking fault. Be quiet, please. Oh my fucking Lord.
The other defendants is one of the pilots on the...
Literally, like, half of the arguments that I get into in this fucking stupid-ass broadcast is just, well, I'm sorry, I just got here. Okay, then fucking subscribe and rewind, okay? You can do that. Piker Broadcasting Service, the People's Broadcasting Service, is sponsored by you, the people, for you, the motherfucking people, okay? If you subscribe to the Piker Broadcasting Service, or you're lucky enough to be the recipient of a gifted sub, then you can rewind if you're watching on the desktop. You could be like, oh my God, I didn't hear the full details of what's going on here. Okay, so maybe I can just subscribe to the Piker Broadcasting Service and then fucking rewind to hear the rest of the story. Maybe there's more to it. Fuck. Subscribe now. PBS, the People's Broadcasting Service, for you, the people, by you, the people. Thank you.
Cuban aircraft that did shoot down that U.S. plane that was going towards Cuba for what they say was delivering humanitarian aid and assisting with a humanitarian effort. The Cubans at the time said that it was their airspace. The U.S. contends that that was
What do you mean? The Cubans at the time said it was their airspace. It is. Like, what the fuck? What is this argument? Yes, of course it's their fucking airspace. What are you talking about? How are they? Like, what? You think they fucking lobbed missiles? You think they were flying over American airspace? Cuban jets flying over American airspace, uninterrupted, unimpeded, and flying over American airspace to shoot at American aircraft. Ridiculous.
National airspace in which they were shot down. Of course, this indictment.
It wasn't fucking international airspace.
Is decades in the making, but the context of it being announced today is, of course, among that pressure campaign to try to drive out.
They were intercepted and shot down between 5 and 8 nautical miles north of Playa Baracoa, located entirely within Cuba's territorial waters and sovereign airspace. A fact supported by the recovery of debris, briefcases, and nautical charts, 9.3 miles from the coast on February 25th.
Castro regime from the government of Cuba. This comes hours after Secretary of State Marco Rubio released a video message directly to the people of Cuba. He did this in Spanish. He was saying that the Trump administration is ready to work with the Cuban people, and the only thing standing in the way is the government that is currently.
Yeah, it's also entirely legal under international law. For the record, what Cuba did in the Brothers to the Rescue mission when they shot that plane was entirely legal, okay? Every nation state has a right to self-defense under Article 51 of the motherfucking UN Charter. Every state has the inherent right to defend its territorial integrity and the security of its population against an armed attack. Unauthorized and hostile aerial incursions constitute an armed attack in the form of an act of force. And it's not that this was the first time they had done so, okay? According to the Chicago Convention on International Civil Aviation, Article 3, which, by the way, this is the reason why the FAA was trying to revoke their pilot's license, because they were trying to stop them from doing this stupid fucking thing over and over again. But mysteriously, that didn't happen, I guess. Shouts out to Bill Clinton. Yeah, the FAA wanted to ground these missions because they knew it was illegal and dangerous. Okay? It's a sham trial. This has no legal standing whatsoever. Do you understand? No legal standing whatsoever. It is ridiculous. And the reason why they have to lean into this kind of idiotic thing to make up a just cause for prosecution is because Cuba has done nothing to the United States of America. They've never been a real military threat to the United States of America. Okay? It's just not real. Not a real threat at all. And the only reason why we didn't fuck with them for the longest time after fucking with them, ironically enough, was because they housed USSR nukes. That's the only time where they were allowed to fucking exist as a normal goddamn country. Yeah. Michael Gallant says, Brothers to the Rescue was founded/led by a self-admitted CIA operative who took part in a terrorist attack against the Havana hotel and was openly dedicated to overthrowing the Cuban government. They repeatedly violated Cuba's sovereign airspace despite consistent warnings. You mean that they deserve to be murdered? I mean that first of all, it's not murder, it's fucking literally self-defense. I mean that if an organization founded by a self-admitted terrorist who had dedicated his life to overthrowing the U.S. government repeatedly and illegally flew an airplane to the U.S. territory despite dozens of warnings, the U.S. would shoot that plane down. You know? It's like defending it's like defending Muhammad Atta, okay? That's how stupid this is. Like, what are you talking about? Who the fuck would ever in a million years be like, oh yeah, well, Muhammad Atta, let's hear him out. You know, it's really fucked up. If they intercepted a civilian aircraft that Muhammad Atta was fucking flying, you know, while 9/11 was taking place, I don't think anybody would get mad that Muhammad Atta got fucking murdered in that process. It would be fucking ridiculous.
In charge. Take a listen to something else he said in that message.
We are offering $100 million in food and medicine for you, the people, but they must be distributed directly by the Cuban people, by the Catholic Church or other trusted charitable groups, not stolen by Gaeza to sell in one of their stories. In the U.S., we are ready to open a new chapter in the relationship between our people and our countries. And currently, the only thing standing in the way of a better future are those who control your country.
And of course, it's significant, too, that he brings up that offer of humanitarian aid as this economic blockade on the island has continued to squeeze the situation on the ground. There are rolling blackouts. There are shortages of food. And Rubio and the Trump administration is trying to put the blame for that not on the administration's policies, but on the Cuban government. What seems to be an attempt here to have the people of Cuba perhaps rise up against their sitting government there. Now, of course, the other thing to note with this indictment is that this is following perhaps a similar playbook to what we saw in Venezuela, where the United States leveled an indictment against Nicolas Maduro, only to then take military action to remove.
At this point, it quite literally is just like, if you don't have the sufficient military force to be able to defend your territorial boundaries, America is going to come and just rape and pillage. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. What is Gaeza? It's the fucking government, okay? It's the government.
Him from that country. Now, we don't know whether it's something like that is in the offing here in Cuba. However, President Donald Trump has repeatedly suggested that he could use military force against
the American. It's the government-operated businesses, okay? And what the American assessment is like, oh, this is a big secretive thing. It's like, oh, the military. They're like funding the military through like their businesses. It's a communist country. It's run by a communist party. It's the same shit that they do with like the IRGC, where they're like, oh, the IRGC also has like economic activity. They use it as a cause to basically render trade impossible with the fucking nation state. Yeah, the Miami Herald's fuzzy math makes the case for economic warfare. This is from August 27th. And the New York Times actually literally took, shouts out the belly of the beast, by the way. The New York Times actually straight up took the reporting from the Miami Herald, which is the CIA Herald for the record, literally. When it comes to Cuba, Miami Herald is probably one of the worst newspapers in the United States of America. Shouts out to Julie K. Brown for all the great work that she did against Jeffrey Epstein. But on this issue, they are probably one of the worst of the worst when it comes to fomenting counter-revolutionary activity and trying to justify terrorism on Cuban soil. Okay? It's a straight-up CIA newspaper. Okay? Article published last month, Miami Herald journalist Nora Gomez Torres claims to have obtained a trove of secret accounting documents proving that Grupo de Administración Empresarial S.A., the conglomerate run by the Cuban military, has been stockpiling $18 billion in cash while the Cuban people endure a devastating economic crisis. The wealth amassed by the Cuban military at the expense of the Cuban people is a secret no more, proclaimed Gomez Torres. She added that Gaeza is squeezing the state out of the funds it could use to invest in healthcare, energy, and food. The documents she wrote demonstrate that the Cuban government has been falsely blaming the U.S. embargo as a sole cause for the island's impoverishment. No credible evidence was presented to back up any of these sweeping claims. As for the $18 billion, it seems the Herald may have made an egregious error in interpreting the one secret document upon which the entire article appears to hinge. For a deeper look at the numbers and why we have more questions than answers about Gaeza, check out our interview with economist Emily Morris. This shaky, contextless reporting is par for the course for Gomez Torres, whose work has been repeatedly used by Secretary of State Marco Rubio and other Cuban-American hardliners to legitimize U.S. government's economic war on Cuba. Gomez Torres claims to have obtained 22 financial statements, but the Herald published only one, a low-resolution screenshot of a balance sheet that shows assets under the control of Gaeza's companies. Gomez Torres asserted that the screenshot shows Gaeza has assets of $18 billion U.S. dollars, 14.5 billion of which are in cash in readily accessible bank accounts. She went on to explain that this amount of monetary assets is larger than the reserves of Panama, Uruguay, or Costa Rica. There is one significant problem with this potential bombshell discovery. It seems to be based on a conspicuous misreading of the one document the Herald published. The figures that carry the Herald's argument can be found in column 8 under heading USD. See screenshot below. At the top of this column in bold, total assets are listed as 18 billion, and the two lines down, total assets and bank accounts appear to be around 14.5 billion. Okay, this is what they showcased. But the upper right cell of the header of the spreadsheet states in plain language that the unit of currency for the financial statement is not US dollars, but Cuban pesos with 2 decimal points. This indicates that the figures under the USD heading have been converted from their original dollar value to a value in Cuban pesos. The fact that the figures have a dollar sign in front of them is not determinative. That symbol is commonly used to denote Cuban pesos as well as US dollars. Since the Cuban government generally calculates $1 US to be worth 24 pesos, Gaeza's US dollar assets will be worth $745 million, 1/24 of the 17.9 billion pesos, or about 4% of the figure reported by the Herald. Not only that, but It is ridiculous. It is a ridiculous argument to present that the fucking Cuban government has any assets whatsoever, and that's completely illegal. Okay, who says? What the fuck do you mean it's completely illegal? There is no country on the planet that doesn't have a private-public partnership in its military sector. Okay, we have a symbiotic relationship between our private sector and our public sector in the military. Okay, as a matter of fact, the private sector has become a behemoth that has sucked up most of the fucking military funds at this point. What are we talking about? They have a reversal on that. It's a state. They have a treasury too, and it's literally $500 million. It's tiny. I know. They're unbelievably broke because of us, because of our actions. And then to add insult to injury, we're like, oh yeah, well, it's fucking, they have money. They're just like hiding it from the people. It's an incredibly stupid argument to present. Okay? It's an unbelievably stupid argument to present. The idea that like they have all of these, like they have stockpiles upon stockpiles. One of the most common tropes that you hear in the anti-Cuba lobby is this idea that the Cuban government has stockpiles of like antibiotics and they're refusing to hand it out to the people that desperately need it. Okay, that they're hoarding it. Why are they hoarding it? If they're hoarding it, why do they have a free healthcare system? It makes no fucking sense. Why would they do that? Like what? Is it all for Raul Castro? Is that what it is? He's taking the antibiotics that hundreds of thousands of Cubans would need. He's just eating them. Is that what they're doing? They say the same with food. They just want to starve their population for funsies. Or maybe they don't have fucking fuel to distribute the necessary food. They don't have fuel to actually engage in agricultural output. They don't have the fucking fuel to distribute the goods, to freeze or refrigerate not only the food, but also the medicine. But yeah, we already covered the Brothers to the Rescue thing, obviously. BTTR founder and director was a Bay of Pigs veteran, Jose Basulto, who had a history of anti-Castro violence. I was trained as a terrorist by the United States in the use of violence to attain goals, he once said. Between 1994 and 1996, Brothers to the Rescue repeatedly violated Cuban airspace and dropped anti-Castro leaflets in Cuban cities and rural areas. Refusal by Brothers to the Rescue members to respect Cuban airspace and inaction by the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration led directly to the pilots' deaths. In May 1994, Cuba notifies the U.S. of the first airspace violations by Brothers to the Rescue planes. You might say, oh, well, they're just dropping pamphlets. Who gives a fuck? What country allows foreign aircraft to fly unimpeded over their airspace? The answer is none, for the record. Okay? None. It doesn't matter if they're fucking dropping leaflets. You have no guarantee. You don't know if they're always dropping leaflets. Sometimes they might drop napalm. Who fucking knows? Over densely populated civilian areas. It's fucking ridiculous. And the American government, we know this through declassified intelligence, for the record, have dropped more than just leaflets with civilian aircraft over Cuban crops. They have engaged in biological warfare. Brothers to the Rescue planes dropped bumper stickers over Cuban countryside. Brothers to the Rescue planes dropped thousands of medallions and leaflets over Havana. A Cuban official wrote to an FAA official, I plead that you take the actions necessary to avoid that these events repeat themselves. In 1995, in August, a Clinton advisor, presses the FAA, the FBI, the Coast Guard, and the customs officials to take enforcement actions against Basulto and his pilots. The State Department is increasingly concerned about Cuban reactions to these flagrant violations. Worst case scenario is that one of these days the Cubans will shoot down one of these planes, says Cecilia Capestany, the FAA International Aviation Division, according to an internal memo from January 22nd, 1996. On August 1995, between August 1995 and February 1996, the Cuban government continues to file diplomatic notes protesting the violations of its airspace, which, by the way, is illegal. The American government is not, at this point, taking the necessary action. These civilian flights are foreign flights that are not allowed. It's a violation of the Cuban territorial airspace. It's a violation of international law. It is perfectly within reason, within the boundaries of international law, for Cuba to protect its own airspace, to protect its own citizens. Okay? And yes, the U.S. did drop invasive thrips in Cuba to destroy their crops. They did do that. with a crop duster civilian flight once again. In January 1996, Brothers to the Rescue planes drop 500,000 leaflets calling for the Cuban people to change things now. In January 1996, Cuban officials and intermediaries continue to press Washington to intervene. The FAA refuses to ground Basulto's planes. In February 25th, 1996, Basulto once again files a false flight plan with the FAA. Despite warnings from the Cuban flight controllers, he declares he has a right to enter Cuban airspace. And lo and behold, they shoot down the plane. On the afternoon of February 25th, 1996, after years of issuing warnings, Cuban Air Force jets shot down 2 Brothers to the Rescue planes, killing 4 Cuban Americans. Basulto survives. 16 days after the shootdown, Bill Clinton signs the Helms-Burton Act, for the record. One of the most insane pieces of legislation that America has enforced upon a sovereign nation, rendering trade with Cuba virtually impossible. We've talked about the Helms-Burton Act before. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Helms-Burton Act. I've covered it before when talking about Cuba. It's one of those things that makes it impossible for any fucking American to ever trade with Cuba, because any American can just turn around and demand restitution, claiming that the Cuban government has stolen their assets. Helms-Burton Act, formerly known as the Cuban Liberty and Democratic Solidarity Act of 1996, is a U.S. federal law that strengthens and codifies the ongoing economic embargo against Cuba. Its primary goals are to pressure the Cuban government towards a democratic transition and penalize foreign companies trafficking in expropriated U.S. properties. Title I, in its 4 main titles, formalized the U.S. embargo on trade and financial transactions, making it far more complicated for successive U.S. presidents to unilaterally normalize relations or lift the embargo without congressional action. Title II outlines American policy and economic assistance to be deployed once a democratic transition government takes power in Cuba. Title III, the controversial one, grants U.S. nationals the right to sue foreign companies or individuals in U.S. courts. Okay, that's the one I was referencing earlier. Grants U.S. nationals the right to sue foreign companies or individuals in U.S. courts if they are profiting from or trafficking in properties that were confiscated by the Cuban government after the 1959 revolution. While passed in 1996, this provision was historically suspended by successive presidents every 6 months to avoid friction with international allies. The Trump administration, of course, lifted that fucking suspension, making the private right of action fully operative. As in, an American in an American court can sue whichever fucking company they want if they are trading with Cuba, claiming that they're working off of stolen U.S. assets for an unlimited amount of money, by the way. Article 4 authorized the U.S. Department of State to deny entry and visas to executives, principals, and sometimes shareholders of foreign companies targeted for trafficking in confiscated Cuban properties. Can you show the article? It's not an article. It's a summarization. Jesus fucking Christ. You don't have to see literally everything I'm looking at every single fucking time. Oh my God! Shut the fuck up! Fucking babies! God! All of you. Literally fucking children. Little baby brain children. Now we're back to Israel. The only country on the planet that matters. The only country that gets to violate and subvert American democracy openly and flex. We're going to Kentucky, where Thomas Massie, who's been in Congress since 2014 as a Tea Party candidate and a libertarian who's been a reliable ally to the conservative movement, was unseated. The common mainstream narrative here is this was Trump's wish, that Trump was able to enforce his power, his command that he has over the Republican Party, and that's precisely what the dipshits in the Republican Party are saying. That's what Stephen Miller was claiming, right? That's what Jake Tapper was claiming yesterday, which I had some choice words for, but we know the real reason. We know the real reason. The real reason is Israel, okay? Thomas Massie was the standalone lone voice and lone vote against funding Israel. Thomas Massie also, obviously, collaborated with Ro Khanna on the Democratic Party side to advance the Epstein bill that became a thorn on Donald Trump's side. The media, on the other hand, will obviously cover it as not a victory for Israel, Israel purchasing another fucking congressional seat, but instead, Donald Trump enforcing his wishes on his own party.
In the Republican Party, he is clearly remaking in his own image. One of his frequent critics, Congressman Thomas Massie, lost his GOP primary in Kentucky to former Navy SEAL Ed Galrine. candidate very aggressively backed by the president. Ed O'Keefe is in Kentucky with more on this and other interesting primaries of last night. Ed, good morning.
Major, good to see you. As you know, more than $32 million was spent on this primary by groups.
Two things can be true. Dog, the inciting incident is Israel. That's it. There would be no friction between Thomas Massie and Donald Trump if Donald Trump wasn't a slave to Israel. Okay? That's it. Thomas Massie loves Donald Trump. Thomas Massie has voted alongside Trump's agenda, and one might even say he's more MAGA than Trump actually is. He's more America first than Trump actually is. Even the things that he did against Donald Trump was still in favor of this America first agenda. I don't agree with Thomas Massie on 98% of issues. He's a fucking right-wing kook and a libertarian. And yet, on this one issue, he showed integrity, and he was punished for it. Okay? The idea that this was just because there was friction between him and Donald Trump is fucking laughable, especially considering that this primary is the most expensive primary in U.S. history. $34 million was spent on this primary. Do you want to know the second most expensive primary was? It was Jamal Bowman. Do you want to know the third most expensive primary in congressional history is? It was Cori Bush. What does Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush, and Thomas Massie have in fucking common? What do they have in common? Some of the most left-wing Democrats in Congress and one of the most right-wing Republicans in Congress. What do they have in common? Are we just playing? Are we acting a fool? Do we have to sit here and behave like fucking morons? It's Israel. That's it. And it's not like a secret either. They're openly saying it. My people have spoken, Mike Lawler says. Shalom at Rep. Thomas Massie. Mike Lawler, of course, is not Jewish. He is a rapacious dick rider of the state of Israel. But the reason why he's saying my people have spoken in shalom is a joke. It's referencing the incident that took place between Mike Lawler and Ron Paul's son, or Rand Paul's son, sorry. Ron Paul's grandson, where Mike Lawler was cornered in a bar by a drunk Rand Paul's son, who said, you and your people, the Jews, are, ruining the country, all this shit. And Mike Lawler was like, I'm not Jewish. And it's really funny. Rand Paul's son turned around and apologized to him on the spot, not for saying, anti-Semitic shit, but for accusing him of being a Jew. Yeah. Top 3 most expensive House primaries in the history have all involved pro-Israel groups spending to get rid of an Israel critic. Wow.
Aligned with the president, but also organizations that support Israel have been trying to defeat the congressman for years because of his opposition to aid to Israel. But ultimately, this contest is just the latest reminder. If you're a Republican who crosses President Trump, you will pay the political consequences.
Yeah, that's not, no. This is a fucking bullshit narrative, okay? It's not just because it was Trump. Thomas Massie is a critic of Trump, but that's not the reason why he lost, okay? It played a reason, for sure. It played a major role in this, but he wasn't a critic of Trump on every issue. He was a critic of Trump on Israel. That's it, okay? That's it. The reason why $34 million was spent on this primary, was not because the party was really trying to make sure that they unseat any and every critic of Donald Trump. Yeah, I'm not even bringing up the Epstein files here because it's just fucking redundant. It's redundant to bring up Epstein and Israel. I'm just saying Israel because that's what it is.
Welcome to the most expensive congressional primary ever.
Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massie, the latest in a long line of Republicans defeated after falling out of favor with President Trump. In his concession speech, Massie made a pointed jab at his opponent.
I would have come out sooner, but I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find Ed Galrine in Tel Aviv.
Banger, by the way. Actually beast mode and very funny. He also made a very funny trans joke as well. Some people are saying it might have been the only Republican to ever make a funny trans joke. Let's take a look here.
When did bipartisanship become a dirty word in this country? It never should be. By the way, I'm not even sure that I'm bipartisan. Bi means you like both. I might be trans-partisan because I can't identify with either some days. That's the great thing about the polls being closed. I can't run an ad where I claim to be trans.
Banger. Okay, Thomas. Okay, Thomas. Said, I'm Thomas Massey and I'm non-binary. They're calling it the most believable reporting of all time. Oh, Barack Unit 8200 Ravid. Trump and Netanyahu held a tough call. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. You know, they used to say 2 guarantees in life, death and taxes, right? There's 3 guarantees in life. Death, taxes, and Barack Ravid reporting on a tough talk that an American president had with the Israeli leadership. Okay? Tough talk time. Unit 8200's very own Barack Ravid is back with some banger reporting. Tough talk time, folks. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The old classics are back. Trump and Netanyahu held a contentious call, guys. On Tuesday evening, people familiar with the matter said with Netanyahu railing against a pact to end the war with Iran and Trump defending the diplomatic process. You don't talk back to daddy, okay? Know your father. Benjamin Netanyahu is your father, Donald Trump, and therefore spiritually the father of the entire MAGA movement. Because as I've said, in the aftermath of this expected Thomas Massey defeat, it is without a question, without a doubt, 100% proven that the grand old pedophiles party is not a party that cares about America, cares about putting America first, or any number of different things that it's been billed as. Massey's defeat proves that the Republican Party is a pro-Epstein, pro-Israel cult led by their cult leader, Epstein affiliate, servant of Israel, Donald J. Trump. That's it. Donald Trump could tomorrow decide to be a communist, and a big chunk of the MAGA movement would become communist too. I 100% believe it. They do not stand for anything. They are at the mercy of their dear leader. Of course, unfortunately for all of us around the planet, dear leader happens to be besties with a fucking pedophile, Jeffrey Epstein, and also is a slave to the nation state of Israel. So now, legions of fucking hogs are also slaves to the pedophilic, parasitic, petro-capitalist class-backed, genocide-loving nation state of Israel. That's where we're at. And, I mean, don't take my word for it, folks. Let's listen to the fucking grand old pedophile himself in his own words.
I'm right now at 99% in Israel. I could run for prime minister, so maybe after I do this, I'll go to Israel, run for prime minister.
Why don't you do that then? Fuck off and go do that.
I had a poll this morning. I'm 99%, so that's good. But I'm right now.
Like, what are we doing? Like, dude, the bandwidth that Republicans have to say objectively anti-American things has gotten completely out of control. Look, Republicans get to shit all over America, shit on the Constitution, get away with whatever the fuck they want to get away with, right? In a way that liberals never will be able to. God forbid a liberal says, oh, there's something wrong with this country. Every Republican will pounce on them and say, you are obviously a subversive element. You are in the pocket of foreign interests and whatnot. But when you're the goddamn Republican president, you could just be like, I am literally a slave. I am a blood boy of Benjamin Netanyahu. I am a slave to the nation state of Israel. Israel owns me. Israel owns my entire life. Every morning I wake up and I say, thank God for Israel. And people will be like, that's right. That's the most patriotic thing that an American president could fucking say. What the fuck is this? What the fuck is going on? What is happening? And unfortunately, on the opposition front, the Democrats are also so unbelievably servile to the needs of this fucking nation state that is doing a genocide that is a destabilizing factor for the entire world at this fucking point with the energy crisis that it created by urging America to go to war with fucking Iran and the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, right? Democrats are also so fucking servile that they don't run this as an attack ad every fucking day of the week. This should be a literal 90% of the public is not going to like the president saying this, okay? 90% of the public. Go run this video by your Trump-supporting relatives. Ask them if they're not fully in the cult, which many of them clearly are, as we've seen already. Go ask this to the independents, okay? See how they feel about this statement. What the fuck are we doing? But yeah, this is a moment of vindication, for the record, for the AOC wing of the Democratic Party that has said that Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson and that coalition doesn't have a real base of support within the Republican Party. Okay? That's the other L for all of the people that have supported this idea that you can drive a wedge in the base. Okay? That's it. The ultras are freaking out right now on her right now over the condemnation of that crank lady in Texas. Once again, I find myself in the center of this as a centrist, not in the center of this controversy, even though some are saying. The centrists have just taken up a new method where they're saying, I've endorsed Maureen Galindo. I did no such thing. Okay? So the centrists are saying, I've endorsed Maureen Galindo. Meanwhile, the ultras are saying, I am a Zionist for not endorsing and actually criticizing Maureen Galindo's insane statements. As the classic reasonable centrist, okay, smack dab in the center of American socialism, I have a different opinion. My opinion is, although I don't personally support Maureen Galindo and think she is a fucking crank, no Democrat, and yes, this includes AOC as well, should ever come out with a condemnation on Maureen Galindo until they demand censures for Randy Fine and numerous other Republicans. That's it. I'm fair. Fair is fucking fair. Okay? You don't get to condemn random fucking people running for office in the Democratic Party's primaries who have crank-ass takes, Marjorie Taylor Blue, as I called her. And you guys know I'm not exactly a fan of Marjorie Taylor Greene either. Yeah, I saw a tweet that said you told Chad to vote for her. Yeah, they're just fucking lying. I don't really give a shit. Laura Loomer is an advisor to the Trump administration. Randy Fine is a Republican congressperson. What are we doing? Democrats, what are you doing? Why? Why? It's so fucking ridiculous. Democrats love playing this fucking game where the rules are gone. The rule book is cast aside, but everyone has to come out and be like, well, we really oppose this person. I mean, I can't believe it. Yeah, she said fucking insane shit. I don't agree with it at all, but play a little bit of fucking politics. What are you doing? Extract concessions from the opposition. If you're gonna do this, extract concessions from the opposition. And Edinger Mentum, who also is Jewish, by the way, before you fucking yell at him, says, Maureen Galindo is a complete nut job and not even left-wing on most issues, but her position on Israel is closer to the median Democratic voters than Schumer's is at this point. Is true. Why? Why do you take ownership over the crank shit that she's saying? Because that's what it means, okay? When you come out and you're like, well, this is a condemnation, it doesn't actually end up making the other side go, well, see, the Democrats are reasonable. We also should be reasonable in the future. It doesn't do that at all. It just makes the other side go, see, that's one of your guys. You're admitting it. Just shut the fuck up. Who is this for? What purpose does this serve? That's my attitude. And if you're going to do this, if you're going to come out and you're going to fucking say, oh, yeah, this is really fucked up. I mean, because it is. You can't just fucking run around and be like, we're going to castrate, American Zionists in detention centers. That's an insane statement, right? I mean, she's a fucking crank. She's a crank. But if you're going to say something like that, you have to fucking demand concessions from the opposite side. What the fuck are we doing? It's just like an unbelievably stupid fucking thing to do without extracting concessions from the opposing side. Match their fucking energy. Be like, oh, really? You want me to condemn some random fucking Democrat running in the primaries? Okay. How about all the fucking Republicans that are in office right now? How about all the fucking Republicans? How about Randy Fine? What are we doing? What is this special status? The fuck is this shit? Play politics for fucking once. For fuck's sake. Yeah, Jared Moskowitz. If Galindo wins, I will force a vote to expel her every day until we achieve that objective. I will hold the floor every day until she's gone. Where is this energy for Randy Fine, dude? Oh my God, I can't fucking spell. Jesus Christ. I'm so angry. Fuck. Got it. Chill, RABB 1. I mean, it's fucking bullshit. It's bullshit. What issues is Galindo right-wing on? I mean, she's insane. She's said anti-Semitic shit, okay? She has. It's true. It's like fucking ridiculous. I was yelling at my chat, too, for like saying ridiculous shit. Like, you don't have to jump on every fucking grenade, okay? Anyway, I'm hungry. My food is here, luckily. If you don't want, I don't need anything. Oh, I need, wait, hold on. 1 second. Let me see if they gave me, oh yeah, I'm good. I have everything. Kaya, sit. Kaya, sit. Okay. Yes, Galindo has said insane things over and over again. Condemnable things. But we're playing politics. It's fucking politics. Play politics. Do politics. You're a politician. Do politics. Oh, I'm showing everybody how good I am. I'm showing everybody who I give a fuck about. What I give a fuck about. Does she even have a chance of winning? Well, according to fucking San Antonio, she might. It's San Antonio. Meanwhile, the Democrats in opposition to her have only fucking placed a cop that wants to fund ICE further, who is pro-Israel. Why are you giving people the option to choose between these two candidates? It's so stupid. And yeah, they're using this to fucking shit on AIPAC Tracker. They hate AIPAC Tracker because it's doing a good job. AIPAC Tracker came out and decided to like unendorse her after this stuff came out. And of course, Neera Tanden is using this as an opportunity to dunk on AIPAC Tracker. Meanwhile, as Matt Duss points out, I can't retweet Neera because she blessedly blocked me years ago, but just yesterday she hosted a conference featuring 2 senior Biden admin officials responsible for the Gaza genocide, one of whom sits on CAP's board. Astonishing that she thinks she has credibility here. And you want to know what's so fucking crazy about that? They had to hide that, was it Anthony Blinken? It was Anthony Blinken, right? Anthony Blinken was a keynote speaker. They had to fucking hide that he was a keynote speaker until the very last moment because they knew if he was publicly on the top billing, the butcher himself, then people would protest it.
After more than $32 million spent by pro-Israel organizations and Trump-backed groups help power Ed Gelrein's campaign.
There is a yearning in this country for somebody who will vote for principles over party.
Massey and Trump disagreed on the war with Iran, the Jeffrey Epstein affair, and foreign aid to Israel and Ukraine. He lost to farmer and former Navy SEAL Gelrein, who vows to be a reliable yes vote for Trump.
I want to thank President Trump for his endorsement.
The president, who encouraged those outside groups to spend all that money, showed no mercy.
By the way, no, I don't think she's a GOP plant, for the record. No, she's not a GOP plant. I think David's wrong. David's right that the GOP is spending because they think Maureen Galindo will be easier to defeat. Okay? Because she is a kook and an anti-Semite. This is true. But I think the GOP is wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think between those two options, San Antonio would probably go for her over the fucking pro-ICE expenditure Zionist cop. I'm done streaming. I think it's over. Stop fucking tweeting and posting like you're a bunch of fucking cranks in this goddamn community. What did she said that's anti-Semitic? Dude, shut the fuck up. I'm done. I'm fucking done. And it's always 13-month subscribers too. Your brain is literally in a vat of acid. Okay? Your brain is in a fucking vat of acid. She said, Jews run Hollywood. Jews run the banking system. Shut the fuck up. Oh my fucking God. A bunch of you genuinely have fallen off the fucking deep end. Holy shit. You can't fucking help yourselves, man. You guys are nasty little fucking perverts. I swear to God. No wonder some of you dumb fucks fall for Candace Owens. I swear to God, the Amera brain is so unbelievably fucking rotted. It is a million times easier to get you guys on board with, not in this community in general, because I do actively fucking fight back against this dumb shit, but some of you are so ready for fucking protocols, man. Some of you are so ready for it. You think you're fucking woke? You're a moron. Jesus Christ. Maureen Galindo being a woke Doge person with moderate position on social issues on top of the Zionism stuff is so huge. By 2030, we're going to have a wave of candidates who run on the image below. Also a balanced budget amendment.
A bad guy. He deserves to.
In Georgia, another one-time Trump foe went down as Brad Raffensperger lost his Republican bid for governor. The state's top election official famously defied Trump's demand in 2020 to find enough votes to help him win the key swing state. And even before last night's results, the president jumped into the next big contest, a Texas-sized Republican runoff between Senator John Cornyn and Ken Paxton, the state attorney general. Paxton's faced years of investigations and impeachment attempts over corruption allegations that he denies. Many Republicans fear his controversial record could lose the GOP a seat they've held for more than 3 decades. But Trump says he's endorsing Paxton because he's always been extremely loyal to me. There are concerns across the GOP that they're now going to have to spend tens of millions of dollars to help Paxton defeat Democrat James Tallarico when they could have spent that money in easier-to-win, less expensive Senate contests in states like North Carolina, Georgia, and Maine. Adriana, all this a reminder. It's going to be a very expensive campaign year.
Yep, it already has been. Ed, thank you so much. So, Major, you were here late into the night covering these primaries. What's your takeaway?
So let's talk about Texas for a second. The president endorsed Ken Paxton. That's not a huge surprise. But to Ed's point, it is going to cost Republicans more to win that seat, which they probably will. But when you take money and you put it in Texas, you are taking it off the field elsewhere. Now, Republicans talking last night said there's plenty of money to go around. We'll have enough to cover all of our bets. But it is a complicating factor created by the president's endorsement. And the other thing it does is it creates more enemies within the Senate Republican conference for the president. So his legislative agenda, trying to get through the Senate, is now going to have some foes in the Republican ranks. Bill Cassidy lost on Saturday. John Cornyn is not going to have any loyalty to the president. Those might be surprising new votes for the president to have to deal with.
Oh, that's an interesting point. Major, thank you so much.
I would have come out sooner, but I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find Ed Galrein in Tel Aviv.
They were trying to say this is anti-Semitic, by the way. It's so ridiculous. Like, God, American political discourse on every avenue. Every part of this story is so busted. Oh my God, I can't believe it. How dare he say that? Man, shut the fuck up. Israel bought another goddamn seat in Congress.
I did get the call through, though. I have called and conceded the race. We've been honorable the whole time, and we're going to stay that way. But here's one thing I saw on Fox. They were saying, oh, my goodness, we're ready for war. We're about to restart this war. We were supposed to restart this war today, but we can't restart this war today. The war can't start today. They said we got to wait a day. And then it occurred to me, where was the Secretary of War yesterday? He was here. Listen, wait. No, look on the bright side. No more wars. No more wars. No more wars. Guys, knock that off. You're going to make me feel good about losing. What I wanted to do was give you all credit. When they saw the influencers here, they panicked. They sent the Secretary of War here, and you stopped the war for a day.
Here is the political reality of today, a reality that we just saw yesterday in the election in Kentucky, when Congressman Thomas Massie, somebody who I have very little in common with politically, was defeated by $9 million in contributions from AIPAC and $7 million from Trump mega donors. And what was the great crime that Massie committed that gendered so much super PAC money in opposition to him? Well, he opposed the war in Iran, and so do the vast majority of the American people. He demanded that the Epstein files be opened, which is what the American people have wanted, and he refused. What a crime, what an outrage, to be a rubber stamp for Donald Trump.
My good friend Thomas Massie lost tonight.
I can't believe how anti-Semitic Bernie Sanders is being, guys. Have you seen that? Dude, it can't feel good, right? There's no way it feels good to be defending this thing, this project. It's gone. It also shows, once again, how fucking malleable the American broader electorate is, especially on the right. I mean, they're trying to be so woke, like Jew hate is open and brazen in the Democratic Party. Jank says, Israel won in Kentucky. They will 100% control the Republican Party now. They will not serve America. They will only serve Israel. He's right. He's just fucking right. Yeah, go ahead. Cry about it. And it turns out many of the fucking voters love that shit. It's a cult. And as long as Donald Trump loves that shit, and seemingly there's no reason for him not to love that shit, they will love it too. It's so funny to act like this is a ridiculous statement to make. Like, oh, wow, look at them. They're hating the Jews. Yeah. I replied to Jake Tapper. Supporters of Israel have long opposed Massie, but he lost tonight because President Trump wanted him defeated, and Trump is incredibly popular in his district and in the GOP. I said, why does Trump oppose him? You think his opposition to Israel and Epstein files have something to do with it? What, you think Trump is not in favor of like libertarian principles? Is that what it is, you think? Is that why? Is Thomas Massie pro-trans or something? Is that the reason why Trump opposed him? Or was there another reason that you don't want to fucking say? Nasty business. The bipartisanship continues in the media side, in the commentariat side, in traditional media. And the bipartisanship, to some respect, exists within the political side as well, and the politician side as well. Except this, once again, presents a unique opportunity for those with the courage to seize it. This shows that the only way that you can actually stop Israel, the only way that you can actually restrain Israel is if you vote Democrat. The only party that has any allowance, and by the way, the Democratic establishment is fighting tooth and nail against this too. Okay, they don't want this shit either. But clearly there is an overwhelming force within the base for the Democrats that is saying enough is enough. We're done with Israel. And that's the only place I see the anti-Zionist movement making gains. Not across the board, mind you. I mean, there's still plenty of fucking issues. But that's where we're at. Trump opposed him in previous primaries too. The main difference is Miriam Adelson and Paul Singer and a bunch of Israel-aligned people spent tens of millions of dollars against him this time. Give me a break, Jake. A year ago, I thought Massie could stick it out as he did previously, but the money spent against him was overwhelming. Most expensive House primary ever. Just denying reality.
Angered by the smears on his character. He lost because he had the guts to take on the Epstein class. He lost because he had the guts to stand up against the war in Iran. He worked with me to pass the most consequential and popular piece of bipartisan legislation in recent history in the Epstein Transparency Act. Many young voters under 50 voted for him. He was winning them by over 30 points. And today I say you may not have a home in the Trump coalition, but there is a new generation of populist Democrats, and we welcome you to help us change this country, change the rotten system, and have a politics that puts the working class ahead of the Epstein class.
There have been a number of nominees or Democratic candidates who have expressed some remarkably anti-Semitic tropes like the gentlelady in Texas, there's the gentleman in Pennsylvania, and I'd like you to weigh in on this as well. How is the Democratic Party going to grapple with that, especially in your caucus, when Republicans might try to turn that anti-Semitism against them and say, well, you know, Democrats might be that writ large? How do you deal with that in your caucus?
Well, we need to speak out when we see it. And we need to speak out against anti-Semitism. We need to speak out against Islamophobia when we see it. We need to hold folks accountable for their actions and their words. But what we also need to do is hold Republicans accountable, because in that exact race that you're talking about, Chad, Texas 35, Republicans are propping up that person who in any other environment would be disqualifying and would never have the oxygen to be the Democratic nominee.
I'm going to be honest with you. This is what happens when you don't put a decent option. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the Harvard-Harris polls early on in the aftermath of October 7 that would ask people between Hamas and Israel, who do you support? And because there was no Palestinian option, because they wanted to obviously juice the numbers in favor of Israel, so they would present it as Hamas versus Israel. This was right after October 7. But because there was no Palestinian option, people would inevitably choose Hamas by fairly decent percentages, like 30% choosing Hamas over Israel. That's unbelievable, right? What's happening in the Democratic primaries in Texas is the exact same. If you don't have a smart, dedicated, anti-genocide, anti-Zionist candidate that's running, you're going to have the kook, the anti-Semitic kook. And people are going to go, well, I'm pressing the fuck Israel button on this election And it turns out that the fuck Israel button is the anti-Semitic kook. That's it. Not saying that Hamas is an anti-Semitic kook, by the way. I'm not, saying that. I'm saying Maureen Galindo is, just so we're clear. Hamas is a legitimate movement, so it's not exactly the same. Brother, it is an analogy that has nothing to do with why Hamas exists and everything to do with the fact that if you give people two options, they will choose the one that Americans normally would never choose. Shut the fuck up and think. You don't have to type all the fucking time.
It's only with potentially $1 million that super PACs and Republican PACs could be behind this. They have not said that, but they need to be asked the question. And I don't know why anybody isn't asking them the question, why they can't disavow this individual and why they can't ensure that no funds go to this individual. They are seeking to do this for one simple purpose, and it is because they have a damaged candidate in that race, and they are trying to prop up somebody with baggage who does not speak for House Democrats and does not speak for the Democratic Party. And so we will continue to say that as loud as we can, because that's just the reality of the situation. But it's Republicans who are propping up this candidate and making.
Yeah. People in San Antonio in the Democratic Party's primary, I'm sure, would, of course, pick an anti-Zionist who isn't anti-Semitic over her. But because there isn't one, because the Democratic establishment doesn't put forward that kind of option, that's the only reason why she has any motion. It's 100% correct. That's it. That's it. And I think that the Republicans are making a mistake by propping her up, for the record. I will go so far as to say that her anti-Semitic and also like objectively kooky attitude is probably more appealing for the average fucking voter in San Antonio, Texas, than anyone that's like a straight line Democrat regardless. She is Marjorie Taylor Blue. That's it. She Marjorie Taylor Blue.
This an issue for someone who otherwise would be disqualifying from even seeking office.
Ms. Ocasio-Cortez really stood behind this candidate. I talked to Senator Fetterman this morning. He said, well, I didn't get along too hot with this guy in Harrisburg. What's your response to somebody in suburban Philadelphia?
Well, I'm in Northeast Philadelphia, to be clear. But, Chad, I think we need to be intellectually honest on the topic of anti-Semitism. I have seen and observed certain comments and actions that I would characterize as originating on the fringes of either political spectrum, and we need to condemn it in all its shapes or forms. We also have to be careful not to conflate anti-Semitism with those who criticize certain actions of the Netanyahu government.
Oh my God. Just say Israel, man. What the fuck? Brother, what are, like, guys, listen, I think we need to all come together and say we must not conflate anti-Semitism with very specific foreign policy, not domestic policy decisions of the Benjamin Netanyahu government in between the time period of 1983 and 1984. I mean, he wasn't around back then, but I mean, he was around, but in 2023 versus 2024, not before 2023. If you criticize Benjamin Netanyahu's government before 2023, then that's actually anti-Semitic. Like, what is this? What is this fucking carve out? Just say you can criticize a fucking state, man. It's not special. And every time you guys run this fucking route, people go, why? Why can't you just say it? Like, why can't you just say fuck Israel? Okay, I'm going to say it anyway. Like, people don't have. That's the guy who represents PA2 who might leave to run for Senate in 2028. Big Zionist took AIPAC money, Nims, Brendan Boyle. Yeah. The state of American politics summarized in one image. What the fuck is this image, man? This is the grossest thing I've ever seen. Something about Galindo that we didn't really talk about before is that she's gotten this far because the Republican shadow packed up like $600K to boost her, which I believe is more than all the other candidates. They did the same thing against the progressive firefighter guy in PA7. Might have already talked about that on mobile. Yeah, I did. I did talk about it. But the Republicans are doing a Pied Piper strategy, okay? Because they think she's a weaker candidate. I think they're wrong. I genuinely, sincerely think that a like pro-Israel cop that has talked about funding ICE is going to be less exciting, even in a blue wave election, for the base than an absolute kook that is anti-Semitic. Again, the story here has been that a mysterious pact that seems to be a GOP front has been boosting Galindo. Dems keep condemning her. I'm telling you right now, this is uncharted territory. GOP actually dealt with this before, by the way. Yeah, of course. Denounced by his party as a Nazi, Arthur Jones wins GOP congressional primary. I remember. And also, I covered this at the time. He ran unopposed in the Republican primary in Illinois' 3rd congressional district. And here's the fucking insane thing. In Illinois, they fucking voted for him. Like in the general, in Illinois, I think it was like a quarter, more than a quarter of the fucking population voted for him too. An actual Nazi, like a part of the American, he was literally I think he was a leader of the American Nazi Party, like Arthur Jones. Let's see his electoral history. Bro has never stopped running. Oh yeah, I was right. 26%, chat, 26% of Illinois' 3rd congressional district in the general election voted for motherfucking Arthur J. Jones. Wow. Anyway, that image is so
We're
funny.
standing here, 3 proud, patriotic Americans, including 1 veteran who served our country honorably. We're standing here saying things that happen to be critical of the President of the United States. Well, that doesn't make us inherently anti-American. I would say quite the opposite. So let's make sure that in a unified voice, we call out anti-Semitism wherever it originates. And then specifically, we have to make sure our dollars aren't supporting it. We have right now a Republican super PAC, a dark money group that is pumping in a ton of money to prop up this woman who said some of the most vile things just yesterday, which I condemned on Twitter as soon as I saw them. So let's put our money where our mouths are. And I call on my Republican colleagues to repeat the same call that no one should be funding this individual, especially an outside dark money Republican group.
What have you said to Prime Minister Netanyahu about Iran and how long to hold off on strike?
He's fine. He'll do whatever I want him to do. He's very, very good man. He'll do whatever I want him to do, and he's a great guy. To me, he's a great guy. Don't forget, he was a wartime prime minister, and he's not treated right in Israel, in my opinion. I'm right now at 99% in Israel. I could run for prime minister, so maybe after I do this, I'll go to Israel, run for prime minister. I had a poll this morning. I'm 99%, so that's good.
Free Palestine!
שקט. טובה. עבודה טובה. ברוכים הבאים לישראל, אנחנו בעלי הבית. ככה צריך. ישראל, כן. זיכוי, כל המטרה כאן זה לראות שאין אנשים בתהליך. לא להתרגש מהצעקות שלהם, לא להתרגש.
עכשיו לראיון עם טאקר קרלסון.
No matter what you do, guys, no matter what you do, make sure you don't offend people who love that shit. Okay? I just want you to understand that's the most important thing in American politics is to ensure that the people who love this shit, and I mean love it, okay? Some of them will say it out loud, some of them won't. But make sure you never hurt the feelings in any way, shape, or form of people who love this shit. Yeah, it's just, I want to make sure that people understand we have to keep funding this, and we have to keep supporting it, and we have to give it emotional support, okay? Because if it offends the sensibilities of people who love this shit, then you're a fucking bad guy. Netanyahu government, don't you dare say anything outside of some modest criticisms of the Netanyahu government in between 2023 and 2026. Outside of that, you can't really do that. Only within the Gaza territory as well. If Israel's doing stuff in the West Bank, well, then that's a separate conversation. Obviously, we get to set the standards on what you can and can't say about this country. Why? What fucking normal person is going to hear you say this and go, you know what? You're making a reasonable argument here, sir. I really should second guess myself. No, they're going to be like, whatever you are, I'm against. You're an animal. Okay? Whatever you are for, I am against for the rest of my life. And whatever you say I am, if you're calling my criticisms of this anti-Semitic, then that's true. That's what it is. Okay? That's what the average person that sees this shit feels like. And that's how you arrive at Maureen Galindo. Okay? That's it. You cannot create an information environment where you're basically shutting off all normal, reasonable, and critical people and constantly yelling at them and saying that they're fucking anti-Semitic, and then actually utilizing some kind of mechanism of social enforcement to actually advance this notion over and over again, and then expect people not to go, yeah, I am, then. Fuck you. It's that simple. It's a desperate floundering to pretend this isn't Israel to make Ben-Gvir the sin eater for society that's overwhelmingly endorsed apartheid and genocide. Alan Shatter. You will always have supported and defended this horror, Alan Shatter, and it's all anyone will remember about you. Ben-Gvir is a total disgrace. I've written various articles criticizing his unfitness for the government and his own behavior. Yeah, Ben-Gvir did that on his own, right? Yeah, Megaphonics says, well, clearly the only singular person at fault in this clip is Itamar Ben-Gvir. If it weren't for him and him alone, all those flotilla members would have been welcomed and greeted with open arms by the military and given free cookies and milk. By the way, as a liberal Zionist congressperson, I won't actually demand any action be taken against Ben-Gvir. Just say this seems bad on Twitter. Yeah, you wrote that as a joke, except that's literally what's going on right now. The Israeli Foreign Minister Sar condemns Minister of National Security Ben-Gvir in his provocative video, or for his provocative video. Oh, wow. Well, I guess that's what happens in a robust democracy, you know? And no, Megaphonics was joking because he was exaggerating. Because he was like, no one is dumb enough to say that. And it turns out, no, people are dumb enough to say it. There's a guy who literally was dumb enough to say it, where it's like, well, this is Ben-Gvir, actually. Yeah, by the way, they're more mad that he's showing it and flexing, okay? Yeah, oh, this is the first video of Ben-Gvir torturing prisoners violently. Good thing this has never happened with him before. Exactly. Oh, man, Chatter. Wait till you find out. Anyway, let's get to Tucker Carlson on Israeli TV now, which I think is getting like a little bit of unwarranted praise.
A lot of people who distort and then show.
For talking to us.
Thank you for having me.
You are one of Donald Trump's most consistent.
This is BDS, by the way, I think. Is this a violation of, it's got to be a violation of BDS, right? To go on Israeli television? I mean, I'm like kind of memeing, but also not really. I'm actually low-key asking for myself because I do want to fucking do this. If given the option, I would love to fucking duke it out on Israeli television. Oh my God. Not that Tucker Carlson gives a shit. Bro, by the way, I mean, look, speaking of like I might have more name recognition in Israel than I do in America at this point. I'm not even joking when I say this. Like, look, this is from the Times of Israel. Chris RABB, 1, Pennsylvania, 3rd. Times of Israel's article title is Anti-Israel Democrat backed by AOC and Hassan Piker wins nomination for U.S. House in Pennsylvania. Bro, Kayagate happened on October 7. It was in the Israeli news. They covered it on Israeli news on October 7. Not October 7, 2023, of course, but October 7, 2025. Think about that. Bro, they're writing nonstop. New York Post. We don't need Nithya Raman's anti-Israel hatred. Exclusive activists. Haaretz, Jewish Democratic Council endorses 2 Dem candidates in the Michigan Dem primary. Jewish Insider, pro-Israel groups celebrate MASSIES defeat. Brace for RABB. Extremist fanboys are glamorizing anti-Semitism and some politicians are playing along. Wait, what? Why did they write the same article over and over again? Controversial comedian Dave Smith appears on Theo Von. He's Jewish, man. He's Jewish. I don't think so, honestly. Mostly ultra online people know, but the regular Israeli has no idea who you are. Remember when I told you I knew someone in Israel who, upon my posting of a photo of you from 2021 on Instagram, reached out to me to tell me, Hassan wouldn't be so nice to you if he knew you were Jewish, right? In 2021, mind you, they made a second article with a pic of you when you scroll down. Anti-Israel squad member Chris RABB, backed by... Wait, this is a second article. But they wrote 2 articles. RABB made the opposition to Israel AIPAC central to the campaign, facing no Republican rival. His seat is assured. Sir, a second article has hit the timeline. Yeah, we're going to talk about this later. Jewish Democratic Council endorses 2 Democratic candidates in Michigan Senate primary, which is very funny. The JDCA endorsed Mallory McMorrow and Haley Stevens. Yeah, you know who else the JDCA endorsed, by the way, famously? Because Mallory McMorrow and Haley Stevens, JDCA knows them. The Jewish Democratic Council knows them. You know who JDCA endorsed? Haley Stevens in the past. You know who Haley Stevens was running against? A Jewish guy. The Jewish Democratic Council endorsed Haley Stevens, who's not Jewish, against a Jewish candidate because the Jewish candidate was critical of Israel. So if you want to understand what the fuck these guys care about, is certainly not electing Jews, okay? And the reason why I say Mallory McMorrow was involved in this is because Mallory McMorrow, actually, if I'm not mistaken, supported Haley Stevens in that race against Andy Levin, the Jewish Democrat who was critical of Israel. Yeah, oh, Matt Duss, yeah. Reminder, JDCA endorsed Stevens against the great Andy Levin in 2022. They're fully on Team AIPAC. Your rhetoric is adding to the violence against the minority. Maybe check your privilege. Okay, this person is 100% joking, right? That can't be a real human. And it's really funny that they did a dual endorsement. The problem, Jewish Dems worry Stevens and McMorrow will split the less progressive vote and let El Sayed through. The solution, make that outcome likelier. Heaven's fucking mandate, dude. I swear to God. Yeah, lying is OP. Lying is fucking OP. Not a Democrat, but Hasan Piker supports her. Can you support this claim with an actual quote from Piker? Yo, it's so funny. Like, literally, they're just lying. I saw this on my timeline, and I joked about it last night, where all of the centrist forces have decided to be like, no, he actually, like, no one ever checks, and lying is OP, so we might as well just fucking lie. Look, this guy did it. One of these fucking pieces of shit. Politico mentioned you in your article too? Oh, the Chris Rabb one. Okay, yeah, Chris Rabb I did endorse and stump for. Hasan Piker endorsed our law. I said lying about this is so funny. And literally not a single person checked to see if it was true or not. Not a single person checked. At a certain point, you're going to have to sue them. What can I sue them for? That they're fucking lying about something so silly? There's a video in your replies saying the opposite. What is the video? Yeah, this is from when I was fucking making jokes about her at her expense. Yeah, there are literally ultras on the timeline upset because I'm a Zionist for not endorsing her. But it is very funny. She mentioned it on MSNBC today too, unprompted in a conversation in the primaries in PA and GA. I laughed so hard I swerved my car. Did you see Mallory McMorrow get absolutely destroyed by Matt Bernstein? Yes, I did. That's Kyle Kalinske energy. Kyle Kalinske is a bad role model for many leftists on the timeline. Clearly, they've seen him do this kind of thing, and they're doing the same thing. Endorsement or not, I don't know. I just hate you for some reason. Yeah, exactly. What the fuck? Not only did I not endorse her, I yelled at a bunch of fucking chatters who were like, dude, what are you talking about? She's actually speaking truth to facts. But none of it matters. None of it matters. The truth literally does not fucking matter. Anyway, let's get back to Tucker Carlson on Israeli television.
And vocal supporters, you called on people to vote for him. What happened?
Yes. What happened was the war with Iran, which I don't believe serves the interests of the United States. I think it's destructive to the United States and to the world, but mostly to the United States. I'm an American. That's what I care about. And that's something he promised he wouldn't do. For 10 years, he argued against a war like this. And then for a variety of reasons, not all of which I understand, he embarked on it. And so I can't support that. My views did not change. His did.
Do you generally believe Israel would try to harm you because of your opinion?
Do I believe Israel would try to harm me?
Yes.
I mean, of course, I don't know. I hope not. I don't want to be harmed.
Yeah.
But my main interest is not Israel.
I'm not just asking you. You were implied to that when you spoke about your coming to Israel. Let's see that for a second.
And I said to them, okay, I want to send you the flight information, and I want you to pass that on to the Israeli military just so, you know, they don't mistake us for an Iranian drone or something. I mean, not to be paranoid, but again, this is probably the most violent country in the world, Israel.
So Israel is the most violent state in...
Wow, Israel. Why you say this about Israel, Tucker? Oh, it's the most violent? Yes. Yeah, also, Adam Johnson fucking clocks it completely here. Funny thing is, despite some differences in emphasis, these are all liberal Zionist talking points. Okay? This is basically Ezra Klein's primary argument. Tucker plus J Street collab when. That's your fucking anti-Zionist hero, by the way, to all the ultras out there. I know. The guy who literally, let me tell you something, okay? For the last 13 fucking years, I have publicly been an anti-Zionist. If I were to tomorrow speak about Israel with the same language that Tucker speaks on Israel, every single person that loves Tucker Carlson would try to kill me. They'd be like, see, we fucking told you. Hassan is a fucking Zionist. He loves Israel. He loves Israel. Every single fucking ultra that constantly is chirping at me that loves Tucker Carlson would say, I'm a fucking piece of shit. I'm an op. I'm a supporter of the Israeli state. Have the same consistent opinion, you fucking idiots. Okay? Tucker Carlson literally will say, I love Israel. I've been to Israel. I love visiting Israel. I'm a fan of Israel. Israel's the best. It's just fallen out of favor. Can you imagine if I said that? Can you imagine if I said that? Anything this motherfucker says, people go, oh my God, he is so brilliant. He's the greatest spokesperson for the anti-Israel cause. I say, yeah, no lefty talks like this. You're right, man. There are so many fucking people who are just like culture war obsessed and their brains are so fucking broken that anyone that has ever demonstrated any wokeness at any point in time is an op across the board. I swear to God. I've never been a major, identity politics fan myself, as you guys know, right? Although I do care about racism, bigotry, and I will combat it. I'm not like going to put it at the forefront. And many people get mad at me for that. They say I'm actually falling short of what's necessary because they don't understand the point that I'm always making. It's like intersectionality has to center class. That's my perspective. Doesn't mean that you cast aside other identity groups, but it has to center class. Okay? And I'm not one of those like Idpal is fucking bad obsessives either. And there are many of them. Some of them are on the left. Okay? But it's very funny that these guys will turn around and fucking be like Tucker Carlson, the greatest critic of Israel of all time. Okay. I mean, great.
The world.
I think he is a pretty solid critic of Israel for the record. But just be a little fucking consistent.
Even more than Iran? Are you serious?
No country, and I say this with sadness, but no country has boasted more about killing its political opponents than Israel, of course, about its assassination programs. The Prime Minister of Israel gave...
Are you enjoying the straw mans you're creating? Go ahead. Go ahead. What's the straw man?
A golden pager to the President of the United States. I was there.
It hurts, don't it? You hear me say these things, and it pisses you off. Not because it's fake, but because it's true, okay? Because there's something in your mind where you love, potentially, a white man who is a former Nazi, maybe not you, for the record, but plenty of them out there who just fucking love hearing it from a white man, a real white man, not even like off-white, okay? I'm talking wearing a fucking plaid shirt in a log cabin white. Guy who loves fly fishing, okay? Guy whose brother's name is Buckley Swanson. That level of white. Ooh, I love hearing that. I love hearing it from the guy. That's the guy.
And that golden pager represented the pagers that Hezbollah leaders were killed by. Sure. I mean, so yes, Israel brags about assassinating people, and of course it does assassinate people. Many countries assassinate people, but Israel...
This is a dumb argument, too. It's like, oh, Israel boasts about assassinating. Oh, okay, so it makes it more violent. It's silly. Just say Israel's more violent and more destabilizing than any other country on the planet because it fucking runs the show in the United States of America, which is the most dominant hegemonic superpower that has ever fucking existed.
It's a public relations campaign out of boasting about killing its opponents. So, yeah, by definition.
These people that were killed are the terrorists of Hezbollah that had a plan to eliminate Israel. In fact, when you said you're against the war in Iran, Iran is the creator of the fire ring around Israel through Hamas and Hezbollah trying to eliminate Israel. So don't you think that Israel has the right?
It's just so stupid. It's like, yeah, Trump murders random fucking fishermen by the hundreds in the Caribbean. You loved Donald Trump until you started calling him a slave to Israel. Okay? The idea that Israel is unique in its cruelty is a little silly. The reason why Israel is uniquely cruel is because Israel is capable of force projection far beyond its borders. And it's not because Israel has, this incredible military force, even though its military force is better than its obviously regional peers. It's because Israel gets to make America do whatever the fuck Israel wants. That's it. But of course, people like Tucker Carlson won't say that. They'll say Israel has duped the president. The president has fallen short of restraining Israel. Little old president who's actually innocent in all of this, or maybe there's something else going on, right? But they'll never fucking say that America is at fault. That's the problem. That's why this argument falls short.
Of self-defense, which is one of the major pillar of interest of national security in Israel and also in the United States.
Of course, I think Israel has the right of self-defense.
So
I think
you
every
said about the
nation
pager,
does.
a golden pager, something that is wrong. Isn't it the fact that when you're fighting your enemies, you need to kill them first sometimes?
There may be circumstances where you can justify killing someone preemptively. And just to restate, Israel, like the United States, like Burundi, like France, like every nation, like every person has the right of self-defense. That's an inherent right. So I've never questioned that. I support it. The question that I think is worth discussing is, what does that mean? Killing innocents is never acceptable. Period. Under any circumstances, by any person or any nation, it's immoral. It's the thing that separates the civilized from the barbarous.
Sometimes
and
sort of get
if you wind up killing people,
like Hamas did in
of course.
October 7th,
right?
In a massacre.
None of this is a defense of Israel's enemies. Of course not.
By the way, neither Nick Fuentes nor Tucker Carlson will ever cross that boundary where they defend the Palestinian resistance. Another thing that, I always notice and I always hear for all the fucking Tucker Glazers out there, including that 7-month subscriber, suck my cock. Okay. Again, they will never in a fucking million years turn around and say, no, of course, like at some point, the people that have been destroyed for 80 plus years are going to end up fighting back militarily. Like Nick Fuentes runs Hamas is a dangerous terrorist group and it's unchristian like to in any way, shape, or form to come at a point of like understanding why Hamas even exists. So just remember that shit, okay? I think, and I mean this sincerely, the Pod John's fan base of liberals that listen to me talk about the Palestinian resistance and the historic reasons as to why they exist are far more understanding now of why Hamas exists or why the PFLP, DFLP, and all these other numerous militancies exist than fucking Tucker Carlson or Nick Fuentes. Okay? You have to stop glazing these fucking people. Okay? If you're going to be skeptical of the things that I'm saying, that's fine. But you have to keep that same consistency and that same energy when talking about all these other people. It's ridiculous. At this point, I'm convinced that Tucker Glazers are Gen Z viewers who are too young to remember Tucker on Fox News. Yes, most people don't know what the fuck Tucker Carlson's background is. And beyond that, most people don't even know that Tucker Carlson is still, while talking about Israel, convincingly, right? Convincingly, certainly, especially for an American audience. This is a very good way to talk about the issue because it kind of takes away the moral culpability from the hands of the American state, right? But they don't even know that Tucker Carlson is also simultaneously doing Israel-style propaganda for white Americans. He talks about the Great Replacement all the fucking time. Literally, nonstop. He wants Israel for Christian nationalism in the United States of America. He wants the exact same thing here.
It's a blanket universal principle.
It sounds like...
Of course it's not.
It sounds like you are...
No, it's a universal principle that applies to every person and every nation. Now, that is not an attack on Israel. Israel has to, in order to remain considered a civilized nation, abide by the same universal principles everybody else does. If Hamas does something that's bad, it's bad. That does not justify Israel doing that same bad thing, or the United States doing that same bad thing. or anybody doing that same bad thing. So the principle remains the same. You can't kill people who did nothing wrong.
It's not just
period.
bad. You know, I'm going back to October 7th. This was a massacre.
Right.
That was attack on Israel, about innocent, about women, raping women, kidnapping infants, taking them to the tunnels for long months inside Gaza. Do
Yes.
you imagine what the United States would have done to an enemy that would have attacked